Imagine getting stabbed by the very person you helped create. This is the final scene of a video game that went horribly, impossibly real. See, there's this martial arts game called Outer Heaven with total player freedom. Playing it feels like actually living inside a wuxia novel. And our protagonist chose to play as a top-tier villain in the capital, but somehow he woke up as that character for real, right at the worst possible moment in the storyline. The moment when the character Yin Tingshui, a prince's daughter, gets her entire family destroyed because of her father's crimes. Her father colluded with the demonic sect, and the whole household paid the price. Yin Tingshui had her longevity bridge shattered, cutting off her path to cultivation forever. And the person who did it to her, that was our protagonist's character. This manhwa is absolutely wild, and if you're already locked in, hit subscribe because we're barely getting started. Now keep your eye on Yin Tingshui, because her story is about to intertwine with his in ways neither of them expect. Our protagonist wakes up and immediately realizes something is very wrong with his surroundings. He looks down at himself and recognizes the exact character model he designed in the game, tattoos and all. That's when a surge of energy rips through his body and a system interface materializes out of nowhere. He's thinking, wait, this is actually a game system, like the real deal, inside a real body. The system pulls up his full character sheet, and he's got some seriously overpowered techniques loaded up already. Turns out when he played the game, he went full villain route as a corrupt enforcer just to min-max his early progression. But here is the catch. The Empress Dowager poisoned this body, and combined with the hardest difficulty setting, he has exactly 3 years left to live. On the bright side, he already has the dragon slaying saber technique manual from his original save file. He figures out he's only about 1 month into the game's timeline, basically right at the start of a brand new save. Wait, just 1 month? That means the raid on Prince Yang's household is happening right now. And sure enough, outside the rain is hammering the capital, and the entire prince's estate is under siege. He steps out with a servant who confirms that this massive estate belongs to the prince being confiscated. All of Prince Yang's retainers are locked in the cellar with their meridian points sealed, and his men ask if he wants to inspect them. He says no because he knows exactly what needs to happen here. In his original save file, this is the exact moment where he personally destroys Yin Tingshui's longevity bridge. But last time, that decision backfired hard because the demonic sect swooped in and rescued Yin Tingshui, turning her into a weapon of vengeance. So this time he needs a completely different strategy. No repeating the same mistakes from the previous playthrough. He remembers that Yin Tingshui's mother told her to be a good person before she died, and that gives him an idea so manipulative it should be illegal, because his wrathful yin-yang technique literally absorbs the hatred and negative emotions of his enemies and converts them into cultivation rewards. He finds Yin Tingshui through the window, sitting all alone in a dark room, and this is the moment everything starts. She is having nightmares about the black-clad guards destroying her longevity bridge, reliving the same trauma over and over. She wonders if she can ever escape this fate, and honestly at this point she has every reason to be terrified. And right on cue, our protagonist walks straight into her room like he owns the place, which technically he does. He looks at her with a grin and says he's been looking forward to meeting her. The confidence on this man is genuinely terrifying. Yin Tingshui immediately asks if he is here to break her longevity bridge, because that is exactly what happened in her dream. And the second she starts panicking, the system pops up showing her negative emotion level hitting 30. His technique is already feeding off her fear. She asks how he recognizes her, and he confirms that yes, he knows exactly who she is. Every single detail. He starts dropping knowledge bombs. Prince Huan colluded with the Bright Dark Divine sect, and his daughter became the Huan princess through that connection. He tells her she was appointed by the former cult leader to become the pure holy maiden, destined to marry into the sect. She is stunned that he knows all this. Now here is where it gets truly unhinged. He grabs her and says the only question that matters is what he should do with her. She fires back with pure rage, calling him ruthless for severing her meridians and destroying her entire clan. And he tells her she is nothing but a toy in his hands now. Is this man actually trying to be the most hateable character possible on purpose? She slaps him clean across the face and screams that she would rather die. And meanwhile, his system is quietly ticking up to 35 negative emotion points. He rips her garment and tells her she has no choice. This whole scene is giving serious red flags, like the kind that would get an investigation opened. He throws her onto the bed and her negative emotion counter shoots straight to 60. But then he starts revealing the truth about her future if she stays on this path. She tells him to stay away, but the power dynamic here is completely one-sided and she knows it. Now here is the twist. He asks her if she genuinely wants to become a holy maiden for a demonic cult that murders innocents. Through tears, she fires back that even that fate would be better than living under oppression and swallowing humiliation for the rest of her life. He hits her with the emotional kill shot and asks how she would face her dead mother, the former princess consort, if she went down that dark road. She is completely shaken now, demanding to know how he could possibly have all this information about her past. She remembers her mother's dying words telling her to always be a good person, and that memory is doing the heavy lifting for his entire argument right now. He doubles down and tells her that if her identity as pure holy maiden gets exposed, everyone in Prince Huan's mansion gets executed. She literally has zero options, and with that, her resistance crumbles. She admits she has no choice left. Honestly, this manipulation is so calculated it belongs in a textbook. She closes her eyes and tells him she is his now, fully surrendering to the situation. Our protagonist is standing over her absolutely ripped, and the power dynamic in this room could not be more lopsided if he tried. But look at that face. He is way too pleased with himself for someone who supposedly just wanted game knowledge, and she gives him this look that is somehow both furious and flustered at the exact same time. Certified tsundere behavior, but then he just walks away and tells her he is not interested in consummating anything. A West Bureau command has plenty of options, so there is no rush. He says possessing her body is just a matter of time, but what he really needs right now is to torment her. This man is farming negative emotions like it is a gacha resource. He makes her kneel and tells her that calling him by name is not acceptable anymore. He wants a proper title, and she does it. She calls him master, surrounded by falling cherry blossoms, looking absolutely breathtaking even in defeat. The art alone in this panel is criminal, and the system goes absolutely wild. Negative emotion 80, wrathful yin-yang technique activated, true chi boosted to 20 years, and his cultivation just skyrocketed. This psychopath turned emotional abuse into a power leveling strategy, and honestly, is he a genius or a monster? Tell me in the comments. So remember that power boost from farming Yin Tingshui's emotions? He is already reinvesting it into learning the dragon-slaying saber technique. But there is a catch. Once he learns it, his chi reserves will be completely drained with no time to replenish. So naturally, his solution is to first learn a chi absorption technique, and he turns to Yin Tingshui like she is a walking textbook. He demands she hand over the star-absorbing grand technique, and the way he says cooperate and you will not suffer is giving hostage negotiation energy. She claims she has the entire thing memorized word for word, and he immediately tells her to start reciting. And she actually does it. She starts channeling the technique from memory, reciting the ancient verses while energy swirls around her. The full scripture flows out of her as she recites passages about the two realms of light and dark, two sects, three realms, and his system immediately starts confirming the data, with progress bars shooting up to 100% across the board. This man is speedrunning cultivation. Now here is where it gets wild. The system simulates him training this technique across years. In the first year, he could not even grasp the basics. By the third year, he glimpsed the essence of the technique, but the scroll was incomplete, so his chi circulation stalled completely. 5 years in, he goes full scholar mode, studying classical text to fill in the gaps, and finally unlocks the ability to absorb true chi. And by year 10, the star-absorbing grand technique takes initial form. Keep an eye on how fast he is leveling up because someone is absolutely going to notice. The system registers it as star-absorbing grand technique fragment at beginner level, not the full version but enough to work with. And he is perfectly fine with that. He says although it is just a fragment, it is enough for now, with the most punchable grin imaginable. Now he channels his true chi into learning the next technique, and the golden energy exploding out of him is absolutely insane. He goes straight into mastering the dragon-slaying saber technique, and the system starts tracking his progress through simulated years of training. 3 years to comprehend the sever the 7th-inch move. 6 years to refine it to minor mastery. The system is literally doing decades of training in seconds, and at 10 years simulated he achieves full mastery of the dragon-slaying saber technique. This is the most broken cheat code in cultivation history. He clenches his fist and says done, while Yin Tingshui is still sitting there wondering what on earth just happened in the last 5 minutes. Then he tosses her a cloak and tells her to cover her head because he is taking her outside. Now hold on, where exactly is he bringing her? Yin Tingshui wraps herself up and asks what this is all about. Looking confused and honestly kind of adorable in that oversized hood, they step outside into a full downpour at Prince Huan's mansion, and the raid is still very much in progress with guards stationed everywhere. Our protagonist walks through the rain with Yin Tingshui hiding behind him and his servant boy following along. Bold move smuggling her out in plain sight. He tells his servant to continue the confiscation while he takes this maid back to the bureau for interrogation. Smooth cover story, right? Yeah, the servant is not buying it for a second. He smirks and says, "Maid, you think I am blind? This kid just became a problem." And then the guards start talking among themselves about not letting that loser Chen Yi have all the fun, and they want a taste too. Our boy keeps walking like he owns the entire district, with Yin Tingshui following close behind, still looking absolutely lost. But then someone steps up and starts calling him out by name. Chen Yi, 100 household commander of the Western Depot, backed by the Lin faction, extravagant and corrupt. And Chen Yi just smirks and says, criticizing royalty with 4 idioms in one sentence. That is actually impressive vocabulary for an enemy. The official pushes further, saying that arbitrarily interrogating a convict is not exactly by the book. Yin Tingshui perks up hearing this. 3 Eastern Depot men block the path and demand he hand over the criminal immediately. Suddenly this escort mission just got a lot more complicated, and Yin Tingshui immediately starts talking trash, telling him to look because his retribution has arrived. The audacity on this woman who was crying 10 minutes ago. Chen Yi fires back with regulations, stating the Western Depot outranks the Eastern Depot and asking exactly which rule they are using to block him. But they tell him everyone knows his real strength. He scratches the back of his head like this is barely an inconvenience, saying bold words, but then his tone shifts and he says he did not expect something. He calls out the white-haired official directly as a demonic cultist hiding among the embroidered guards. And the look on that man's face tells you he just hit a nerve nobody was supposed to touch. Chen Yi says he was not even planning to expose him, but since the man walked up and offered himself on a silver platter, and just like that, all 3 guards draw their swords and rush him at once. This is about to be the field test for every technique he just learned. Chen Yi does not even flinch. He tears through them with a single devastating slash that sends bodies flying through the rain. The remaining guards are spinning around in confusion, screaming that he vanished. They cannot even track where he went. But he is already right in the white-haired official's face, asking if he seriously thought those weak moves could handle him. The gap between these two is not even close. And you can see the exact moment this man realizes he severely underestimated Chen Yi. That expression is pure regret. The saber connects with absolutely brutal force, and the carnage that follows is not something you walk away from. The official is in complete shock, asking how Chen Yi can possibly be this fast. Brother, he was never the weakling you thought he was. Chen Yi stands there holding a blood-soaked saber in the pouring rain, and the official can barely stammer out a response. This is the most lopsided fight we have seen so far. And then it clicks. The official recognizes it as Commander Min's dragon-slaying saber technique, and the horror on his face is priceless because that technique should not belong to Chen Yi. Our protagonist is covered in blood, grinning like a maniac, and saying he will gladly take the true chi that was just delivered to him. Is this man a fighter or a tax collector for life force? And there it is. He activates the star-absorbing grand technique and starts draining the demonic cultist's ki directly out of his body while Yin Tingshui watches from a distance. Yin Tingshui is absolutely horrified, thinking this man is terrifying and questioning how anyone could call him all bluff and no substance. Chen Yi stands over the fallen official like a final boss who just wiped the floor with a tutorial enemy. Then he turns to Yin Tingshui and casually asks if she was not the one gloating just a minute ago about his retribution arriving. The receipts are immediate in this manhwa. And the look on her face right now is a perfect cocktail of shock, fear, and something she absolutely does not want to admit she is feeling. He grabs her face, pulls her close, and says, "Remember, you are mine." And honestly, this possessive energy might be the most dangerously attractive thing this manhwa has produced. She looks up at him with those wide eyes and flushed cheeks completely soaked in rain, and the art in this panel alone deserves an award. She asks why he keeps bullying her, and his system goes berserk. Negative emotion 85, grudge yin yang technique triggered, 6 years of cultivation gained plus 3 more from her resentment. This man just turned a rainy confrontation into a full stat harvest. But someone else has been watching this entire fight from the shadows, and the storm crackling overhead makes this scene feel incredibly ominous. Remember when I said someone would notice how fast he was leveling up? A blue-haired observer sits among the carnage and notes that all 3 were killed with single clean saber strikes. This observer is questioning how Chen Yi could have mastered a technique he only stole a month ago, and is already planning to investigate him and recruit him against the demonic cult. The web around our protagonist just got a whole lot bigger. Meanwhile, somewhere across the capital that same stormy night, someone is asking about Chen Yi, and this absolutely gorgeous pink-haired woman says she remembers him perfectly. The blue-haired observer from last episode is here telling his sister to investigate Chen Yi, warning her not to underestimate him. And she immediately starts teasing him, asking if it is rare for him to be this interested in a man and if he is just dying to meet Chen Yi himself. He gets completely flustered and insists that no matter how handsome Chen Yi is, he is still just a flashy shell with nothing underneath. He tells her to take this seriously and rushes off, but keep your eye on this woman because her idea of investigating is about to get very creative. She is already planning to dress up and meet Chen Yi personally tonight to find out what he is hiding. This woman has a whole mission briefing going. Meanwhile, Chen Yi is in the bath studying a demonic sect technique manual he found on Song Shengbao, debating whether to pour all his true chi into it. He channels his energy into the manual, and chi starts spiraling through the entire room like he turned his bath into a cultivation chamber. But then he senses something, and his whole demeanor shifts instantly, demanding to know who is there. He grabs his robes and launches himself out of the bath after the intruder without a second of hesitation. He bursts outside barefoot with his saber drawn, demanding whoever is playing tricks to show themselves immediately. And then she appears. Min Ming in the most jaw-dropping outfit this manhwa has produced so far, and that bar was already dangerously high. She casually mentions she thinks she has seen him before at the brothel, and Chen Yi is clearly trying to figure out what angle she is playing here. She presses further, saying he was one of her clients too, and Chen Yi just goes completely silent. The original body's history is catching up to him. She leans against his doorframe looking absolutely devastating and invites him to come inside and talk. This is the most elaborate honey trap I have ever witnessed. And Chen Yi hits her with the reverse card, asking if she really wants to go inside with him. The energy in this scene just flipped completely. She doubles down, saying just for one night and she will even pay him. Is she investigating him or speedrunning a dating sim? Chen Yi says since she insists, he will gladly fulfill her request, and sweeps her off her feet in one motion. She is completely pinned underneath him, calling him impatient with hearts literally floating everywhere. The art team knew exactly what they were doing with this panel. But wait, because that is a saber now pressed against her and the romantic atmosphere just evaporated in half a second. He tells her straight up that seducing him comes at a price. This man was never fooled for a single second, and honestly that might be the coldest rejection in this entire series. And the wildest part is she looks even more flustered now than when she was trying to seduce him. Make that make sense. His system identifies her as Min Ming, possessing 10 years of foreign true qi, and she thanks him for paying her instead. This girl is still flirting with a blade at her throat. She calls out the soft-bone sword technique and his name, which means she already knows way more about him than she was letting on. Chen Yi is processing hard right now, realizing she was supposed to be working at Baihua Brothel and wondering if taking Yin Ting Sui caused a butterfly effect that changed the whole plot. Min Ming drops the act entirely, sitting on the floor and begging Commander Chen to spare her, insisting she means no harm. Chen Yi demands to know who sent her, and she admits she came on her own after hearing he brought a pretty maid back from the prince's manor. He reminds her that breaking in at night is a capital offense. He locks eyes with her and says he could kill her right here on the spot, and you can tell from his expression that he is not bluffing even slightly. And her response is to surrender completely, saying she is in his hands and asking to call him her sworn husband. Would you trust this woman right now? Be honest. Chen Yi grabs her chin and tells her flat out that her beauty will not work on him because he is simply not interested. The willpower on display here is genuinely unmatched. He asks if she thinks it is hard for him to tame her, and the system goes wild. Negative emotion 80 grudge yin-yang technique triggered, 3 years plus 10 years of foreign true qi harvested. Chen Yi is visibly amused that he triggered that much negative emotion so easily. This man turned a seduction attempt into a full stat upgrade and he did not even have to try. Min Ming finally drops all pretense and asks him directly what he actually wants from her. The power dynamic has completely inverted from where this encounter started, and Chen Yi just tells her to leave and stop investigating him. He does not even care who sent her. That is the most disrespectful dismissal a spy has ever received. She is still processing that rejection when someone outside calls out for Commander Chen, and the timing could not possibly be worse. Chen Yi steps out and finds Commander Min himself standing below, asking if he has seen a courtesan from Baihua Brothel. The brother came looking for the sister. Chen Yi just smiles and casually points behind him where Min Ming is standing, saying she is perfectly fine. The confidence of this man is unshakable. Commander Min is immediately furious, but Chen Yi calmly explains she asked him to take her in and he refused. The look on that blue-haired kid's face is pure murder. Commander Min draws his blade and threatens that harming a fellow officer's relative means 40 lashes and losing his title. Chen Yi insists he genuinely did not touch her. But then Commander Min sheaths his sword and shifts gears entirely, saying he has a task he needs Chen Yi's help with. That escalation and de-escalation gave me whiplash. He explains that Prince Yang colluded with the demonic sect, and while the leader was caught, remnants are still active in the capital. He orders Chen Yi to help hunt them down. Chen Yi smirks and says demonic sect remnants must absolutely not go unpunished. But we all know what he is really thinking about is how much qi he can drain from them. Now here's where things get bigger. Chen Yi recalls a dungeon event called the Demon Cleansing Blessing Altar, set up by Sword Mountain and Shangxing Dao to purge demons from the capital. Massive ritual pillars with bound captives line the altar grounds, and the observers note it is almost time for the ceremony to begin. This event is on a scale we have not seen before. Meanwhile, the rank-and-file soldiers are gossiping over tea about how Senior Anzhou has been acting strange, going straight to the tea house without saying a word to anyone. And we get our first look at Zhou Yitang. She arrived early and seems to be waiting for someone specific, and the way she carries herself screams seasoned warrior. Keep her in mind. A group of riders approaches through the mountains, and someone wonders aloud if there could be a prodigy with deep spiritual fate among the people here. We meet the elder of the Bright Dark Divine Sect, an old man who looks like he has been around since cultivation was invented. Another sect official greets him and asks what brings him here. And there is Chen Yi in full Western Depot gear alongside Commander Min, telling Elder Li they brought the whole crew to see him off safely since he always covered their bar tab. The elder is a little nervous about this and asks if bringing this many people is not a bit too high profile for a quiet departure. Another official drops the bombshell that the Eastern Depot is getting restless and might be planning to arrest Elder Li. So this escort was never just about courtesy. Chen Yi assures them that with the Western Depot backing this operation, the Eastern Depot would not dare make a move. The elder nods, knowing the political shield is the only thing keeping him alive. Chen Yi grins and says if they are escorting the Buddha, they had better see him all the way west. This man just volunteered for a mission that puts him directly against the Eastern Depot, and he looks thrilled about it. The escort mission kicks off at a scenic waterfront pavilion, and everything seems perfectly pleasant. Elder Li is genuinely flattered, laughing about getting such a personal send-off from Brother Zunmin. And Chen Yi chimes in, asking if nobody's gonna treat him to a drink before the big departure. So they all sit down for tea, the elder practically tripping over himself to be hospitable. But Chen Yi grabs the teapot himself, insisting that since he's the one hosting this farewell, he should be the one pouring. And that smile right there is doing a lot of heavy lifting. The elder accepts the cup with genuine gratitude, not a single alarm bell going off in his head, and he drinks the whole thing without hesitation. Remember this tea because it matters more than you think. A massive ship rolls up to the nearby port right on schedule. It pulls right up to the dock, ready to carry the elder out west to safety. The elder stands up and thanks everyone, saying the boat has arrived and it is time to board. Chen Yi wishes him safe travels with his hand covering his mouth. Look at that expression and tell me nothing is wrong. Because the second the elder turns away, dark energy starts surging through his entire body. He collapses face first onto the ground, coughing up blood everywhere while people scream for help. And there it is. The tea Chen Yi personally poured was poison the entire time. This man served death with a smile. The poison is destroying him from the inside, and the agony on this man's face is genuinely difficult to look at. And in the chaos, a blade is drawn. The whole scene goes blood red. Chen Yi is standing there with a bloodied blade, demanding the Western Bureau help him eliminate this evil. He framed the cultist for his own attack. Commander Min falls for it completely, ordering every soldier to follow Chen Yi and wipe out the remaining devil cultists. The troops charge forward without question, and Chen Yi just unlocked an all-you-can-eat chi buffet. He tears into the cultists with zero mercy, every swing backed by killing intent that would make a demon blush. Every hit is calculated to draw blood and ki at the same time. The system confirms 60 years of chi drain from Elder Li Shengling. That friendly tea ceremony was a setup from the first sip. The shockwave from the fighting shatters the stone beneath them like glass, but a bald monk with a staff steps up, and this one actually knows how to throw hands. Chen Yi calls him an eyesore and launches into an overhead strike without hesitation. He grabs the monk mid-combat like he's picking up groceries. The disrespect is physically tangible. 20 more years of chi harvested from Wanggu. Chen Yi is treating this massacre like a speedrun through a loot dungeon. He decides these people are dying too slowly and announces he needs to speed up the delivery to the afterlife. So he unleashes everything at once, fire and blade energy ripping across the battlefield in every direction. The golden blast sends bodies flying like ragdolls. Is this chivalry or is this a war crime? Genuinely asking. And Commander Min is watching the whole thing with stars in his eyes, calling Chen Yi truly chivalrous for slaying devil cultists. The system reads 210 years of internal ki. Even Commander Min admits he had Chen Yi completely wrong. Nobody suspects a thing. But here's the catch. Chen Yi realizes he absorbed way too much power at once for his body to handle. His meridians are on the verge of shattering, and if he does not rest soon, all that stolen power will tear him apart from the inside. Commander Min notices something is off and helps him up, but Chen Yi just brushes it off and says he is fine. He tells Commander Min to ride the horse together, and if he passes out, just take him back. These two sharing a horse through the capital is objectively the funniest image of this entire series. And then Chen Yi hands back the dragon-slaying blade technique scroll, which catches Commander Min completely off guard because why would you return something that powerful? Now here is where things go completely off the rails. Chen Yi casually asks if anyone has mentioned his subordinate Chen Zunming, the execution commander. He asks Commander Min directly if he knows that Zunming has romantic feelings for him, a fondness between men. He says this with an absolutely straight face while they are sharing a horse. Commander Min's negative emotions immediately skyrocket to 92. This poor kid just had his entire worldview demolished on horseback. He starts screaming at Chen Yi to let go of him, completely losing every shred of composure he had left. And that was all Chen Yi needed. The resentment yin-yang art activates, harvesting 70 years of true chi plus a bonus from Min Ning's emotional meltdown. This might be the most sociopathic power-up method in all of fiction. Meanwhile, across the capital, people are already gossiping about the young leader with the terrifyingly fierce blade techniques. Over at a private table, a disciple from Yin Sword Mountain says all the sisters are talking about him, but her master has a much sharper take. She says his martial arts are excellent, but he walks the path of killing, not saving. But then she says she has not seen him in years, and he has gotten thinner. This woman knows Chen Yi personally. File that away because it is going to matter. Back outside, someone is yelling from a rooftop for people to get down, and the whole city is still buzzing from the chaos. Commander Min is on the horse while Chen Yi runs alongside on foot, and Min is sarcastically thanking him for the escort. Chen Yi waves goodbye like they are best friends while Commander Min is absolutely seething, vowing to remember every single drop of humiliation. Back at his quarters, Chen Yi settles into deep meditation with 87 years of true chi left to process and refine. He starts channeling the stored energy, testing exactly how much his battered meridians can still handle after that overload. He takes stock of his current arsenal: dragon-slaying blade, star-absorbing art, and the eagle drop fragment. He figures if he masters all three, he only needs a defensive technique to become untouchable in the early game. And that scheming grin tells you he has already figured out exactly how to get there. He begins infusing true chi directly into his training, pushing his body through rigorous practice in the open air. Every word and phrase of the technique manuals flows through his meridians as he practices relentlessly, day after day. And here is where it gets interesting. He discovers that Eagle Drop and the Dragon-Slaying Blade actually complement each other perfectly, like two halves of the same fighting style. After 23 simulated years of practice with the Dragon-Slaying Blade as his foundation, he masters Eagle Drop at double the normal efficiency. And then he does something nobody saw coming. He fuses both styles into an entirely new creation called the Sea Reversing Blade technique. Both Eagle Drop and Dragon Slaying Blade reach perfected status simultaneously. This man just min-maxed his entire build in one meditation session. He exhales and says he finally completed it, months of grinding, and now his toolkit is genuinely terrifying. But someone has been watching him this entire time from just outside his room. Yin Tingsui gets caught red-handed, and her immediate reaction is to panic and say she has been discovered, as if that was not obvious. Chen Yi calmly tells her eavesdropping is a terrible habit, and she scrambles away down the hallway like a kid caught stealing snacks. Her excuse? She overheard a conversation where she learned he likes men, and her curiosity got the better of her. That is genuinely the worst possible defense she could have chosen. Her punishment? Go fetch some water, right now, no questions asked. Specifically so she can wash his feet while he lounges there watching. He calls it a small punishment for the eavesdropping. This man's definition of small is concerning. She asks why he has to humiliate her like this, and honestly the look on her face is doing things to me that I am not prepared to examine. He just smirks and asks if she does not like washing feet. The power dynamic between these two is absolutely unhinged, and her response is to lunge directly at him and say fine, then come to bed and sleep with her instead. Yin Tingsui just flipped the entire script in one sentence. Things escalate at a speed that would give you whiplash, and the art team knew exactly what they were doing with this frame. He pulls her close and tells her not to move. Just stay like this with him. Whatever happened to liking men, Chen Yi? And she is lying there completely flushed, thinking if this man supposedly likes men, then what exactly is he trying to do with her right now? Honestly, fantastic question. Meanwhile, at the Eastern Depot headquarters, things are already in motion. Eastern Depot director Su Yu is having himself a nice cup of Bibo Dragon. Well, tea completely unbothered. But his peaceful evening gets interrupted when a subordinate bursts in with some very inconvenient news about the Devil Sect members. Not a single one of them boarded the ship. Chen Zunming turned on them and beheaded all 16, no survivors. The subordinate is confused because the Divine Cult already had a deal with Chen, and the guy is known for corruption. So why the sudden moral backbone? Director Su decides this cannot slide and Chen needs to be taught a lesson. The subordinate suggests filing a formal report and drops a juicy detail about Chen taking a maid from Prince Yang's residence. But there is a complication. Chen is under Grand Secretary Lin's protection. Shu Yu does not care one bit because he is also under Grand Secretary Lin. He declares he will go to the palace himself tomorrow. A mere 100 household officer defying the Eastern Depot? He sees it as target practice. 2 days pass, and now watch how Chen Yi handles this, because it might be the most calculated performance in the entire series so far. He shows up at the Western Depot to meet director Wu Qingsheng and gets invited inside. And the scale of this place is genuinely intimidating. Chen Yi looks tiny in this massive hall. Western Depot director Wu Qingsheng is sitting there looking like a final boss, and his first words are asking Chen if he knows what crime he committed. And Chen Yi responds with perfect deference, bowing and saying he awaits Director Wu's guidance. Not a single trace of attitude. Director Wu straight up throws a blade at his feet and tells him he is as good as dead. Subtle diplomacy is clearly not the Western Depot style. But what landed is not a weapon. It is a memorial report. Director Su from the Eastern Depot filed it against Chen, and Director Wu intercepted it before it reached the Emperor. Wu explains he blocked it once, but he is only 6th rank compared to Sui's chief eunuch status. This protection has an expiration date, and here is the political angle. If Chen gets reported, it is not just the Western Depot that looks bad. The Eastern Depot loses face too. Everyone is connected. The demand is simple. Return the maid you took from Prince Yang's estate, or face the consequences, and pay close attention to how Chen Yi reacts to all of this. Because the alternative is very clearly spelled out. Refuse, and the only path left is a violent one. Chen Yi thanks Director Wu for the reminder, says he knows exactly what to do, and bows like the most obedient soldier you have ever seen. He agrees to stay out of the Eastern Depot's business and says understood without a shred of resistance. If you believe any of this is genuine, I have a bridge to sell you. Director Wu waves them off, satisfied that the matter is settled. This man has no idea he just got played. Chen Yi thanks him for his fairness and takes his leave. Absolutely flawless performance from start to finish. Wu Qingsheng finishes his tea with main character energy, completely unaware that he is a side character in Chen Yi's script. But the second Chen Yi steps outside, the real plan begins. He flags down Officer Li from the Eastern Depot with some supposedly urgent intel. He casually drops a question about whether Director Su knows about the Divine Cult's Holy Maiden, and Officer Li immediately takes the bait. Now watch this. Chen Yi tells him the reason he killed those Devil Sect members was not for personal gain, it was to protect the Eastern Depot. He explains the Divine Cult is trying to recruit a court prince, and asks if Officer Li has ever wondered why they are so determined. The man admits he has not thought that deeply about it. Then Chen Yi lowers his voice and says he has been running a private investigation. The Divine Cult has a major plan underway. That plan involves the emergence of the Holy Maiden, and once she appears, the Eastern Depot's connection to Prince Jiang's estate makes them directly implicated. Officer Li is visibly shaken. Chen Yi explains he intercepted and killed those cultists specifically to prevent this plan and keep the Eastern Depot clean. He attacked them to sever the connection before it was too late. And Officer Lee is eating every single word of this because the logic actually tracks. Officer Lee is so grateful he asks how he can repay the favor. And that is the exact sentence Chen Yi has been engineering this entire conversation to hear. Chen Yi mentions he has heard the Eastern Depot owns a martial arts manual called Bronze Bone Art. Officer Lee immediately tenses up because that belongs to Director Su personally. Chen Yi hits him with the guilt trip immediately. You just called this a huge favor. Does the Eastern Depot not honor its debts? And just like that, Officer Lee caves and hands over the manual. Remember last episode when Chen Yi said he needed a defensive technique to complete his build? Officer Lee walks away thinking they just made a fair trade. Intel for a manual, everybody wins. And there it is. That smile tells you everything. This man just scammed the Eastern Depot out of their own manual using fake intel as currency. Is this the most disrespectful con in the series? I genuinely think it might be. The system activates instantly. Bronze Bone Art acquired, 20 years of true energy invested, cultivation begins. 3 years of pounding skin and forging bones in the rain, then another 10 years refining organs and cleansing marrow. But the system notes this manual is not high grade, so this is its ceiling. Bronze Bone Art reaches completion, and his body is now basically iron armor. Regular blades cannot even scratch him. That is the defensive technique slotted perfectly into his arsenal. Bronze Bone Art Initiate level, 40 years of true energy remaining. Not the strongest manual, but it fills the last gap in his toolkit. The build is officially online, and with that handled, his mind is already on the next target. Min Ning's sister. Whatever he is planning for her, it cannot be good for anybody except Chen Yi. Half an hour later, Chen Yi is already on the move to his next target. He shows up at the 100 Flowers Pavilion, asking for Miss Min, and the voice from inside is already suspicious. And there is that signature grin that means someone is about to have their entire life rearranged. She tries to blow him off, claiming she is hungover, and Chen Yi casually drops the question of whether she wants Min Ning to lose her career. And that gets the door open real quick. Miss Min steps out looking absolutely unreal, and I need a moment to process what just happened to the art quality. Chen Yi walks right in, confirms she is clearly not hungover, and she immediately switches to playing the helpless damsel card. But Chen Yi is not buying any of it. He drops the name Wu Yonglu and watch her face completely short-circuit. Here is the bombshell. Wu Yonglu runs secret intelligence networks, and Miss Min here is one of their top operatives planted inside the 100 Flowers Pavilion. She drops the act entirely and asks what he actually came here for. Pay attention to this moment, because what Chen Yi wants from her is genuinely diabolical. But first, some context. Min Ning, her little sister, followed their father into the Eastern Depot at just 15 years old. After 5 years of grinding, she climbed from junior officer all the way to commander. That is genuinely impressive for someone her age. And Chen Yi is weaponizing all of it. If the Eastern Depot discovered Min Ning has a spy for a sister, her entire career is finished overnight. Miss Min realizes she has zero leverage here, and asks him to just name his price already. And here it is. He wants her to spread a rumor that the Eastern Depot is colluding with the demonic cult and protecting the birth of their saintess. He warns her not to try anything clever, because Min Ning's entire future is sitting in his pocket right now, and she is furious, but completely trapped. Is this the most ruthless blackmail in this series so far? Because using someone's sister as collateral is genuinely cold. Chen Yi heads out like he just finished a casual business meeting, and neither woman can do a single thing about it. And that is when Min Ning shows up calling for her sister, completely unaware of what just went down in this room. Min Ning tells her sister not to worry, because she is going to find a way to kill Chen Yi. Oh, this poor girl has absolutely no idea what she is walking into. The next day arrives, and Chen Yi has something very specific planned that involves their new little assassin wannabe. Min Ning starts tailing Chen Yi through the corridors, and she clearly thinks she is being slick about it. Except Chen Yi picks up on the tail almost immediately, because of course he does. Min Ning is still following, wondering where exactly this man is headed on his day off. He confirms it is her, and instead of shaking the tail, a much more devious idea takes shape. He decides if she wants to follow so badly, he will give her a performance worth watching. And that thought alone should terrify you. He leads her straight to a demonic cult outpost hidden in the suburbs, and Min Ning is following every single step of the way. He walks right up to the hideout door and knocks like he owns the place. Someone inside peeks through the gap and asks who he is, which is fair given this is supposed to be a secret cult hideout. Chen Yi starts reciting the demonic cult passphrase about the great Ming-honored Buddha restoring the world. How does he even know this? And just like that, the door swings open. The cultist says he is one of their own and invites him inside without hesitation. Chen Yi strolls into a full demonic cult hideout, and Min Ning sneaks in right behind him. This is getting incredibly dangerous, incredibly fast. One of the cultists immediately gets suspicious and notices Chen Yi is wearing an embroidered uniform guard outfit. That should be a death sentence in here. But the elder steps in and says they have spies everywhere, so an unfamiliar face is not unusual. Though he does admit Chen Yi looks suspicious. The elder draws his blade and demands Chen Yi state his name and prove himself. One wrong answer here and this turns into a fight scene real quick. Chen Yi does not even flinch. He starts reciting advanced cult scripture about the Big Dipper, 2 realms of light and darkness, all of it flawless. And then he demonstrates an actual cult technique called the star-sucking great art. The elder nearly falls off his throne recognizing it. Chen Yi introduces himself as Song Shengbao and pledges full allegiance to the cult, a completely fabricated identity delivered with zero hesitation. And watching all of this from behind the door is Min Ning, who now believes she just witnessed Chen Yi reveal himself as a demonic cult member. Her brain is spinning. He used the star-sucking great art on her sister. He is using a fake name and he killed cult members before. None of the pieces fit together for her yet. Meanwhile, Chen Yi is already feeding the elder a story about the Eastern Depot just playing hard to get. This man is running a con inside a con, and Min Ning is the audience he handpicked to witness all of it. Chen Yi is laying it on thick now, telling the cult that the East Factory has been biding their time, waiting for the perfect moment to round them all up and earn a fat promotion. He paints them a picture of what already happened, how the East Factory reached out to the West Factory to intercept and slaughter their brothers from the Holy Sect. And then he drops the real poison. He says the East Factory is using them as a borrowed knife, and if the cult keeps trusting them, the Saintess herself will be in danger. And there is Min Ning, still hiding behind that door, absorbing every single word. She is hearing Chen Yi claim they already know about the Saintess arriving. Chen Yi presses harder, urging the elder that the East Factory is already investigating the Saintess, and if they do not move now, the entire Holy Sect is finished. Now remember that rumor Chen Yi blackmailed Miss Min into spreading? About the East Factory protecting the Saintess? The elder is already hearing it from his own network, and it lines up perfectly with everything Chen Yi is saying. The elder starts connecting the dots himself now. He asks if Chen Yi is saying the East Factory deliberately leaked information about the Saintess just to have an excuse to surround and crush them, and that realization hits hard enough to crack the table. The con from last episode is paying off in real time, and Chen Yi did not even have to force it. The red-haired cultist is already fired up, shouting that if the East Factory wants to play dirty, then the cult should strike first without any guilt. But the elder is not that easy to push. He reminds everyone the East Factory has enormous power, and cutting ties could backfire catastrophically. The red-haired cultist fires back, asking what is wrong with taking a risk for the Saintess. His devotion is genuine, which makes him the most dangerous person in this room for Chen Yi's plan. And Chen Yi, masterclass manipulator that he is, tells the elder he has said everything he needs to say and he is leaving. He drops the bomb and walks away like a man who knows the fuse is already lit. Meanwhile, Min Ning is processing all of this alone, and the only thought running through her head is that this man is far too dangerous. She makes a decision right there. She has to find out who he really is. Keep an eye on this moment, because her curiosity is about to cost her dearly. And just like that, she trips a defensive trap. Green energy floods the room and catches her completely off guard. She immediately realizes how badly she just messed up, but the trap is already doing its work, and there is no undoing this. She tries to reach for an escape, hands scrambling toward anything solid, but the poison or whatever this gas is has already started taking hold. Back in the main hall, both Chen Yi and the elder notice something is wrong at the exact same time. Chen Yi looks startled, which is rare for a man who plans everything. A cultist rushes in announcing that a thief triggered their defensive trap, and now Min Ning's little espionage mission just became a survival situation. The red-haired cultist wastes no time ordering everyone to go check it out, and multiple cultists scramble toward the source. They burst through the doorway and find exactly what nobody wanted them to find. Min Ning is right there on the ground, completely exposed. She is knocked out cold from the trap, completely helpless. The West Factory commander, who was going to uncover the truth, is now at the mercy of the people she was spying on, and the cultists immediately identify her as a West Factory commander. Then one of them has the nerve to comment that she is quite the beauty, which tells you everything about what kind of people we are dealing with here. Chen Yi walks over to assess the situation, Min Ning unconscious at his feet. Now here is where it gets interesting, because the next few minutes will show you why this man is operating on a completely different level. He immediately says he recognizes her, and the elder asks how. Is he about to protect her or throw her under the bus? He says of course he recognizes a West Factory commander. Playing it cool like this is just standard intelligence knowledge, but the gears behind those eyes are turning at 1,000 miles per hour. Min Ning wakes up and immediately starts screaming that they are demonic sect members who will all die horrible deaths. Brave? Absolutely. Smart? Not even close. The red-haired cultist pulls a blade and tells her to shut up, and this situation is about 2 seconds away from turning permanent. But Chen Yi stops him with a grin and says to wait. Whatever he is about to propose, the fact that he is smiling should concern everyone in this building. He warns them not to kill her here because the West Factory will trace it back. Instead, he suggests taking her to a deserted hill in the countryside and finishing the job there. This is the most sinister rescue plan ever conceived. The red-haired cultist is genuinely impressed by how cautious this supposed cult brother is. He has no idea he is being played like a fiddle. The elder takes Chen Yi's advice and orders 2 of his men to escort her to the suburbs under Song Shengbab's orders. He even reminds them to bury the body well. Charming folks, really. They drag Min Ning out to a remote hillside, hands bound, dumped on the dirt like cargo. This is genuinely terrifying if you do not know what Chen Yi has planned. And then these two start discussing whether to sell her to a brothel because of her looks. Is this the most detestable pair of side characters in this entire series? The red-haired cultist decides playtime is over and raises his blade, grinning as he announces that today is her death day. He brings the sword crashing down toward her with full killing intent. This is the moment where everything either works or it does not. Min-ning screams in sheer terror as the blade connects, blood spraying everywhere. Except wait, look closer at who is actually bleeding here. Chen Yi is right there, and he has the absolute audacity to say, "I told you to kill her and you actually tried to kill her." This man gave them the order specifically so he could be the one to stop it. That is diabolical. One cultist is already down on the ground and the other is stuttering, asking Song Shengbao what on earth he is doing, and Chen Yi cuts him down before he can even finish the sentence. 2 cult members eliminated, Min-ning rescued, and the cult will never even know what happened. This man does not play chess, he builds the entire board from scratch. Now with those 2 cultists down, Chen Yi's system immediately starts crunching numbers. Lu Shi had 20 years of internal energy, Ma Deng had 30. But before he saved her, Chen Yi decided to squeeze every drop of value from this situation. He approaches Min-ning while she's still tied up, and keep an eye on what he says next. His vengeful yin-yang art absorbs 30% of the dead cultist's energy, netting him 17 years. Plus Min-ning's fear and anger give him another 3. 60 years of internal energy total now. Then he actually gives her the antidote for the muscle-softening powder the cult used on her. He tilts her chin up and feeds it to her directly, which is simultaneously gentlemanly and wildly inappropriate. She swallows the pill and he cuts through her bindings right after. The weakness should be wearing off any second now. Min-ning gets to her feet and immediately confirms her strength is coming back. It was actually the real antidote, which honestly surprises her more than it should. And the first thing out of her mouth is demanding to know what exactly Officer Chen is trying to pull. Fair question considering the last hour of her life. Chen Yi hits her with the most elaborate compliment of all time, telling her that with her martial skills and sharp intellect, she was obviously feigning capture to disarm the demon sect and can now claim she fought all 3 of them alone. He lays out the cover story perfectly. Lu Shi and Ma Deng died by her dragon-slaying blade technique, and only Song Shengbao, his cult alias, managed to escape with his life. He is literally writing her a promotion on a silver platter. Min-ning is stunned, asking if everything was an act, and he is not really demon sect. Chen Yi tells her to take the heads to the Eastern Depot so they become permanent enemies of the cult. This is where the real game begins. He asks her point blank, wouldn't she love to see the Eastern Depot wipe out the remaining demon sect members? And the way he says it, you can tell this is not a question. It is the next step in his master plan. And that is when it clicks for Min-ning. He is not just infiltrating the demon sect. He is manipulating both the demon sect and the Eastern Depot at the same time, playing them against each other like puppets on strings. She calls him a deep schemer, and Chen Yi just waves goodbye, saying if she does not follow the plan, he will go visit the 100 Flowers brothel to enjoy her sister's music. Is that a threat wrapped in blackmail wrapped in a smile? Yes it is. Meanwhile, back at the Eastern Depot, someone is already asking questions about the rumor that they have been protecting the Holy Maiden's emergence. Remember that nursery rhyme Chen Yi planted? It is arriving right on schedule. A subordinate reports to the director that a nursery rhyme is spreading across the city, linking the Eastern Depot to the demon sect's Holy Maiden. The director wants to know what they should do about it. The director immediately wants to know where the leak came from and wonders if the demon sect is trying to be clever, using this rumor to force the Eastern Depot into continuing their protection. He is furious, and the temperature in that room just dropped. His subordinate dismisses that theory, saying the demon sect needs the Eastern Depot's authority too much to risk provoking them. He flat out calls the cultist idiots who have lost their minds worshipping their religion. The director makes his move, ordering his people to cut contact with the demon sect and issue them a warning. Chen Yi has not even been in the room and he is already steering this entire organization exactly where he wants them. And then the real kicker. He orders a secret investigation into the Holy Maiden's emergence, saying if it is true, the Eastern Depot needs to strike first. Chen Yi just weaponized a rumor into a declaration of war. Now here is where Min-ning makes her entrance. She has brought evidence, and from the blood on those clothes it is clear she is selling Chen Yi's cover story hard. Min-ning walks in carrying the bloody garments and announces she has something to report. She actually did it. She is playing her part in Chen Yi's grand scheme, and honestly, she might be the smartest pawn on this entire board. The director immediately recognizes her as Section Chief Yan. With the cult evidence she is about to present, the rift between the Eastern Depot and the demon sect is about to become a canyon. But wait, because Chen Yi is not done. On the other side of town, he stumbles into the cult's hideout looking absolutely wrecked. The elder sees him and immediately panics, asking Song Shengbao what happened. And the performance Chen Yi is about to deliver deserves an award. He tells the elder that the section chief was faking being poisoned the whole time, ambushed them when they tried to execute her, killed Lu Shi and Ma Deng, and he barely escaped with his life. Every single word of this is technically true from a certain angle, which makes it the most devastating lie possible, and the elder absolutely loses it. Energy explodes around him as he curses the Eastern Depot for being cunning and deceitful. The man who was hesitant about cutting ties last episode, he is now ready for all-out war. Shen Yi says he needs to go recuperate and warns the elder to be wary of the Eastern Depot. The elder swears he will never forget this grudge and promises vengeance. Shen Yi just lit a match and the elder is carrying the gasoline. Shen Yi bows and thanks the elder with the most sincere fake gratitude you have ever seen. This might genuinely be the most impressive manipulation in this entire manhwa so far. Would you have figured out his game by now? Several hours later, night falls over Shen Yi's estate. Both sides have been poisoned against each other, and neither one has a clue who actually pulled the trigger. And here is Shen Yi relaxing in the bath, breaking down his own master plan. He admits it is hard to make the Eastern Depot and Demon Sect enemies directly, so he is doing it in stages. Create suspicion first, then widen the crack. And finally, make them tear each other apart while he collects everything that falls out. This man is not playing a game against one opponent. He has the entire board fighting itself while he watches from the side. Genuinely terrifying strategic mind. And then the Saintess herself walks in. Yin Tingshui shows up asking if her master was looking for her, and she is wearing the kind of outfit that makes you forget what you were doing 5 seconds ago. He takes her hand and tells her he has something important to say. The atmosphere just shifted from war room to something entirely different, and the audience is eating well tonight, and then he pulls her straight into the water. Just like that, no warning, no build-up. This man treats every interaction like a power move, and the bathhouse is no exception. The artwork right here is doing things to people's blood pressure that should require medical clearance. Yin Tingshui is absolutely flustered, and the artist knew exactly what they were doing with this panel. He tells her not to be nervous because she already knows what he is going to do. Hearts are floating everywhere, and this scene has gone full premium content. The cultured viewers know exactly what kind of chapter this is, but here is what is actually happening underneath the romance. His system is reading her negative emotion at 85 and converting it into 3 more years of internal energy. Every blush, every flustered reaction, he is farming stats off this woman. He asks her to just obediently submit to him after all this time together, and she begs him not to force her. The tension between these two is unreal, but remember, Shen Yi always has an ulterior motive. And there it is. He smirks and thinks to himself that a little provocation is working perfectly. This was never about romance. He has been baiting her emotions this entire time to trigger something specific. Yin Tingshui is crying out, completely overwhelmed. And honestly, the emotional manipulation happening right now might be worse than anything he did to the cult. At least they got stabbed, honestly. The overhead shot of these two in the bath together looks straight out of a painting. But do not let the visuals fool you. There is a calculated play happening right now that nobody sees coming. Because Shen Yi suddenly whips out a death contract and tells her to sign it. This was the entire point. All the flirting, all the emotional buildup, it was all to get her guard down for this exact moment. And Yin Tingshui's reaction is absolutely priceless. Her brain just shattered into a million pieces trying to process how she went from a romantic bath scene to staring at legal paperwork. He explains the contract changes her name to Yin Jiayu for safety until things calm down, and she flat out refuses to sign. But knowing Shen Yi, her refusal is just the start of a negotiation he has already won. This man weaponized a bath scene into a contract signing. Absolutely unhinged. Shen Yi grabs Yin Tingshui's wrist before she can pull away from that contract. He tells her flat out she is signing this thing whether she wants to or not. And Yin Tingshui, looking absolutely breathtaking even while being coerced, is not having a good time right now. Then he hits her with the real question. Does she really think that after serving him for 8 years, she can just regain her freedom and live a happy life? The look in her eyes right now tells you everything about how trapped she feels. He tells her to just stay here with peace of mind, and the artist decided to give us this full view of the man's physique while making his point, so you know the audience is being served on multiple levels tonight. Night settles over the estate, and everything seems quiet. But keep watching because this piece is about to shatter. Because someone is sitting on the rooftop watching the whole compound. Pay attention to this person because what she does next changes everything tonight. She drops into the courtyard without making a sound. Whoever this woman is, she moves like a professional. And she announces that Commander Chen's grievances with her should be settled now. So she has personal history with our boy. That look in her eye says this is not a social visit. And Yin Tingshui immediately realizes something is wrong. The blue-haired intruder has already found where the Saintess was hiding. These two are face to face, and Yin Tingshui does not look like she was expecting company. Meanwhile, Shen Yi is casually calculating that the demonic cult should be making their move right about now. He starts to mention Yin Tingshui, and that is when it hits him. Something is wrong. For the first time in a while, Shen Yi actually looks panicked as he rushes toward the room. And he arrives to find an empty room with nothing but a cold bath. Yin Tingshui is gone, but the intruder left a note. It says if he does not want this matter exposed, he should go see her sister Zuokyu. Shen Yi realizes someone was here and took his most valuable pawn right from under his nose, but instead of anger, he smirks and thinks that is just perfect. Is there a single curveball this man cannot turn into a three-pointer? Honestly, at this point, I would be scared if Shen Yi looked worried. The next day, somewhere out in the countryside, we find ourselves at a remote cabin. The blue-haired woman is pacing around wondering why Shen Yi has not shown up yet. Did she not leave obvious enough clues? And Yin Tingshu casually suggests maybe he went to her sister's place instead. The kidnapper's own trap might have sent him to the wrong address. But then she perks up and grins because someone has arrived. She thinks her bait finally worked, except that is not Chen Yi at the door. A blade comes straight for her face, and this situation just took a very different turn. The demonic cult just kicked down the wall, screaming that the Eastern Depot actually did kidnap the Saintess. Remember how Chen Yi poisoned both sides against each other last episode? And the blue-haired woman immediately realizes she is in deep trouble. She did not plan for this at all, but this is not just a small raiding party. The entire demon cult has mobilized against the Eastern Depot, declaring them untrustworthy and calling for total war. Chen Yi's domino chain from last episode is falling perfectly. Back at headquarters, the director demands to know what is happening. His subordinate tells him the demonic cult suddenly turned on them and is attacking. The man who ordered the investigation is now living the consequences of a war he did not start. The director does not hesitate. He draws his blade with enough force to crack the air around him and orders everyone to follow him. This man might have been manipulated into this fight, but he is absolutely built for it. And the director unleashes an attack that splits the sky open. The power level just jumped from political drama to full-blown martial arts warfare. But the cult army keeps coming. Hundreds of them marching straight for the palace in the pouring rain with nothing but bloodlust driving them forward. The Eastern Depot soldiers rally with a battle cry to eliminate the demons right here at the Emperor's feet. Both sides are treating this like a final stand, and neither one knows the real enemy is sitting back watching it all unfold. And the blade starts swinging. A cultist charges in screaming about traitors, while the Eastern Depot answers with steel. This is exactly the bloodbath Chen Yi designed. The director himself is on the front lines carving through cultists like they are made of paper. This man is genuinely terrifying when he stops sitting behind a desk. And then he makes it personal. He orders every Eastern Depot agent to kill the demonic cult Saintess on sight, no questions asked. That order just made Yin Tingshui a target for both sides simultaneously. Would you still want to be anywhere near her right now? The rain keeps falling over the city as an all-out war rages between two factions that should never have been fighting in the first place. And our blue-haired kidnapper is now fleeing through the rain with Yin Tingshui in tow, panicking about how the demonic cult found them. She went from hunter to babysitter in the span of about 10 minutes. The cultists spot them and shout that the Saintess is with that Eastern Depot agent. So now they think this woman is from the depot, which makes her a double target. Cultists start dropping from the rooftop screaming to save the Saintess. And Yin Tingshui, looking absolutely devastating even while being fought over in a monsoon, is caught in the middle of a rescue she never asked for. They are completely surrounded now. The blue-haired woman curses that they caught up, and the situation has gone from bad to catastrophic in record time. A cultist charges with his blade, demanding she release the Saintess. They are not interested in talking this out. She is blocking strikes from every direction and already bleeding. She knows she cannot keep this up and needs to break free immediately, but against this many opponents, those odds are looking grim. And that is where we leave her, outnumbered, wounded, and caught in a war she walked herself into. Meanwhile, Chen Yi is probably somewhere dry, smiling about how perfectly this is all going. This man engineered a civil war, and the only person paying for it right now is the one who tried to mess with his plans. The Dragon Blade strike tears through the battlefield like a cyclone, and in this kind of chaos, precision goes out the window. A hooded cultist throws herself into the fight with claw weapons, screaming that nobody will take the Holy Maiden. These people would genuinely lay down their lives for Yin Tingshui without a second thought. The clash is savage, blades sparking through the downpour as neither side gives a single inch, but Yin Tingshui herself catches a blow meant for someone else, and the Saintess everyone is slaughtering each other over just became collateral damage in her own rescue. And the cultist who landed the hit realizes in absolute horror that they just struck their own Saintess by mistake. That might be the most catastrophic friendly fire we have seen in this entire manhwa. That moment of hesitation cost them everything. The blue-haired woman stands over the fallen cultist, and this fight is already decided. No mercy. No second chances. Just a quick end in the rain. Yin Tingshui stands there soaked and stunned, staring at the body of someone who died trying to save her. This girl keeps collecting casualties wherever she goes, and she's not even holding a weapon. The blue-haired woman grabs Yin Tingshui and pulls her along, because freezing up in a war zone is how you end up as the next body on the ground. They reach what looks like safer ground, but Eastern Depot soldiers are already posted up ahead. Someone calls out for Captain Min, and the situation is about to get a whole lot more complicated. The blue-haired woman asks Captain Min what is going on, and immediately one of the soldiers identifies Yin Tingshui as the demon sex Holy Maiden. And now the other agents are turning on Captain Min, accusing him of shielding the Saintess against the governor's direct orders. This man is getting prosecuted in the middle of a monsoon. The blue-haired woman had no clue about any orders, so the soldier lays it out plain. Governor Soi's command is to kill the demon sex Holy Maiden on sight. No trial, no questions, just a sword through her chest. But then a voice cuts through the rain telling everyone to stop. And that smirk alone should tell you exactly who just walked into this situation. Chen Yi strolls onto the scene in his finest robes like the entire battlefield is his personal stage, calling out to Min Ning like they have a lunch reservation. The blue-haired woman, Captain Min, and Yin Tingsui all look at him, and you can physically feel the power dynamic rearrange itself. And Yin Tingsui, looking absolutely devastating even while drenched and desperate, immediately runs to the man who has been puppeteering her existence and begs him to save her. She is asking her jailer for shelter, and he is going to grant it because she is still his most valuable piece on the board. The remaining Eastern Depot soldiers demand to know who this newcomer is. They genuinely have no idea that the architect of this entire war just introduced himself. And Cheng Yi answers that question with his blade. Dark energy rips through the air, and the soldiers barely have time to process what is happening before it is already over. He stands there holding his sword overhead, looking mildly irritated, complaining about the noise. This man just committed open treason against the Eastern Depot, and his primary concern is that they were being too loud about it. Multiple agents are already face down on the pavement, and the last one standing points his blade at Cheng Yi, screaming traitor. Bold words from someone running out of teammates. Captain Min brings his blade up, and this becomes a real duel. But pay close attention to the technique Cheng Yi is about to pull out, because someone watching from the sidelines is going to lose their mind over it. Cheng Yi launches a golden arc slash with enough range to cover an entire courtyard, declaring his opponent outmatched mid-swing. The sheer disrespect of announcing your victory before the attack even lands. Captain Min cannot process what just happened. The gap between their abilities is not a skill difference, it is an entirely separate weight class. Cheng Yi grips his blade as golden energy spirals around him, and the sheer concentration of power building in that sword could flatten a city block. He declares that anyone who has seen the Holy Maiden will die, and the wave of golden destruction that follows turns that threat into an immediate reality. People are flying through the air like leaves. Captain Min, somehow still on his feet, accuses Cheng Yi of being one of the demon sex remnants. Every faction keeps trying to label this man, and every single one gets it wrong. Captain Min goes all in, launching from the rooftops with a colossal blue energy slash aimed straight down. This is everything he has on one final desperate bet. Cheng Yi fires back with dragon soars high, and you can see the exact frame where Captain Min's confidence evacuates his body. That face is pure, unfiltered regret. The resulting explosion swallows the entire block in golden fire. This was never going to be a contest, and Captain Min just found that out at the worst possible moment. And here is the payoff I told you to watch for. The blue-haired woman stares at the aftermath and realizes Cheng Yi just used her dragon blade strike. He copied her signature technique and wielded it at a level she could never reach. This man does not just outplay you politically, he steals your martial arts identity while he is at it. Cheng Yi strolls over with a soldier's body still airborne behind him and casually tells her to deliver the Holy Maiden to his residence. Bodies on the ground, Imperial agents destroyed, and he is handing out assignments like a shift supervisor after closing time. And then the real warning drops. If the Sanus is not at his place when he checks, she already knows what happens next. The blue-haired woman can only stare, because what leverage does she possibly have against someone like this? He walks off without a backward glance. In under 10 minutes, he dismantled an entire Eastern Depot unit, recovered his most important pawn, weaponized the woman who stole her, and used someone else's technique to do it. Be honest, is this genius or is this terrifying? Because I genuinely cannot tell anymore. Meanwhile, across the capital, cultist bodies are piling up near the palace gates. The war Cheng Yi manufactured is chewing through both factions exactly as intended. But the chaos is not limited to the streets. Inside the demonic cult itself, dark energy erupts as someone begs an elder to explain why they are being betrayed after years of loyal cooperation. The elder does not want dialogue. He has already decided that liars deserve death, and comes swinging with a weapon that could split a mountain. The paranoia and distrust Cheng Yi seeded into this organization has fully taken root. A blue energy slash the width of the entire hall rips downward between them. The demonic cult is not just losing a war on the outside, it is cannibalizing itself from within. And the blow connects. Cheng Yi did not just start a war between two factions, he started wars inside each one simultaneously. Every player on this board is bleeding, and the only person with clean hands is the one who flipped the table. This man is operating on a level that should be studied in a textbook. The demonic cult elder is going absolutely feral, swinging that weapon down with everything he has, screaming about how he needs to kill this man to face the Supreme Saintess. The victim spits back that even if he dies here, the Eastern Depot will come for all of them. Brave words from a man currently getting his blood redecorated across the floor. The elder raises his weapon for the killing blow, and at this point you would think the man is finished. But then a blade comes out of nowhere and stops it cold. And guess who just decided to make his entrance? Cheng Yi appears with his sword drawn, and the elder cannot believe what he is seeing. The elder stammers out Commander Chen's name like he just saw a ghost walk through the front door, which honestly is not that far from reality. And just like that, the power hierarchy in this room has completely rearranged itself. The elder who was just about to commit murder is now bowing at Cheng Yi's feet. And Cheng Yi greets Director Shu with a smile that could curdle milk, saying it has been a while. Keep that name in mind because the story Director Shu gets from here is very different from what actually happened. The blades clash in a flurry of strikes, and Cheng Yi is not even remotely taking this seriously. The speed gap between these two is comical. Cheng Yi grabs the elder's head and uses true chi injection, which is exactly as painful as it sounds. He is pumping raw energy directly into this man's body like he is overloading a battery, and the result is the kind of scream that makes everyone in a 5-block radius reconsider their life choices. The elder stumbles back asking why Chen Yi did this to him, and honestly the confusion on his face is almost pitiful. He genuinely thought they were on the same side. Someone reports that the plan has been carried out and all that remains is the Saintess. So the demonic cult's internal war was not organic chaos after all. Chen Yi orchestrated every single betrayal from the inside. Outside in the rain, the white-haired woman faces Chen Yi, and whatever conversation they are having right now is building toward a decision that will reshape the entire political landscape. She tells him to find a scapegoat and it can all be covered up. This woman is not innocent. She is a co-conspirator, and the two of them are about to pin this entire massacre on a dead man who cannot defend himself. But then something catches Chen Yi's attention. Someone is approaching, and whatever mood he was in just shifted instantly. The Eastern Depot soldiers are looking for Commander Chen, but nobody knows where he went. His whereabouts are currently unknown, which is a polite way of saying this man was just murdering people 3 blocks away and walked back like nothing happened. And right on cue, Chen Yi appears at the entrance of Director Wu's quarters and announces himself as a subordinate reporting for duty. The timing on this man is surgical. Director Wu wants to know what happened and why a Western Depot captain is the first person on the scene, which is actually a very reasonable question that Chen Yi is about to answer with the most elaborate lie of his career. Chen Yi stands before Director Wu and his entire squad, and what is about to unfold is a masterclass in political manipulation. Chen Yi turns the accusation right back on Director Wu, asking if he is being suspected of meddling. And the smirk on his face while saying it tells you he already knows he has this man cornered. Director Wu immediately backtracks, stumbling over his words. The man went from interrogator to apologizer in under 3 seconds. And here comes the cover story. Chen Yi claims his martial arts are meager and far inferior to Director Shu's, then drops that Commander Li secretly gave him the bronze bone technique as a sign of fraternal bonds between the two depots. Every word out of his mouth is calculated. He even brings up Commander Li as a witness, and sure enough, someone confirms the story is true. Chen Yi did not just prepare a lie, he prepared an entire alibi ecosystem with corroborating witnesses. Chen Yi turns and walks away, but someone is watching him with eyes that are not buying a single word of this performance. Remember those eyes, because this person's suspicion is going to become very important. He continues the act, calling Director Su half his master since the man compiled the very technique manual he learned from. He asks how he could possibly interfere after receiving such a gift. The sheer nerve of praising the man you just had killed. And Director Wu completely folds. He apologizes to Chen Yi and says he only regrets his own incompetence for not being able to save Director Shu. This man is apologizing to the person who orchestrated the murder. Chen Yi launches into a whole speech about Director Shu's noble sacrifice, asking Director Wu to report the truth to the higher-ups. He is eulogizing his own victim in the rain like a Shakespearean actor who also happens to be a war criminal. He gestures toward the fallen Eastern Depot soldiers, calling them brothers who fought fearlessly to the death, and asks that their contributions not be forgotten. These are the men he killed, and he is standing over their corpses delivering their memorial, and the rank and file are completely eating it up. They are calling Commander Chen righteous, saying he does not even take credit, just thinks about his comrades. The propaganda is working in real time, and it is genuinely unsettling to watch. Director Wu swears he will report the truth without holding anything back. And he will. He is going to tell the Empress Dowager exactly the story Chen Yi wrote for him, every fabricated word of it. Is this the most disgusting display of manipulation we have seen in this entire manhwa? Because I think it might be, but not everyone is drinking the Kool-Aid. Minuechi is watching from a distance, and her first question is the one nobody else is brave enough to ask. What is Commander Chen's true power? She remembers that golden energy blast from before and wonders if he used the dragon-slaying saber technique, a family heirloom art. The fact that she is piecing this together means someone is finally looking at the evidence instead of the performance. She notices his movement technique does not match anything from the Jinyue martial arts system. Something is fundamentally wrong about Chen Yi, and Minuechi is the only person in this story with both the brains and the courage to say it out loud. Keep an eye on her because this threat is not going away. And then she spots him across the courtyard. The man she was just thinking about is walking directly toward her. Chen Yi gets straight to the point and demands to know where she is. No greeting, no pretense. When this man wants something, social niceties evaporate. Min Yueqi, visibly shaking, tells him Yin Tingshui is inside, and that she already pulled out the silver needles and applied ointment. She did exactly what she was told, and she is still terrified it was not enough. Chen Yi grabs her wrist and warns Min Yueqi to weigh her options carefully if she ever thinks about taking the Saintess away again. The grip on that hand is a promise, not a threat. Now here is where things go completely sideways. Chen Yi says the person he is protecting is not just the Princess of Xiang but also her sister. And Min Yueqi, red as a tomato, blurts out that she knows about his preferences and offers herself as a substitute. The energy in this scene just made an illegal U-turn. Chen Yi grabs her face and tells her they are going to enter the Violet Palace together. and the look on Minuechi's face says she has no idea what that means but is absolutely certain she should be concerned about it. And then he kisses her. No warning, no build-up, just pure overwhelming dominance. Minuechi's wide-open eye tells you she did not see this coming, and has absolutely no idea how to process it. He pulls back, tells her to go home and stop playing games, then walks away like he did not just short-circuit her entire nervous system. Minuechi is left sitting on the floor questioning every decision she has ever made. This man collects women the way normal people collect hobbies. Meanwhile, outside the capital, the Eastern Depot has set up a field camp to process the aftermath of the battle. The stars are out and the body count is still climbing. Vice Director Song asks if all the bodies have been counted, and the sheet-covered forms lined up across this tent tell you the answer is going to be devastating. Every fallen brother has been registered, and the report goes to the Empress Dowager tomorrow. Director Wu says he will engrave the Eastern Depot's sacrifice in his heart. Noble words, but the real killer is still walking free with a promotion pending. But then Vice Director Song raises a concern that should make everyone very nervous. He worries there are still remnants of the demon cult out there. And here is the evidence. 21 bodies all died in the exact same location. That is not a battle, that is an execution site. Director Wu wants to know why that matters. And honestly, the answer should terrify him. Because every single guard was killed in one blow, two at most. Whoever did this was not fighting a battle. They were taking a walk and deleting people along the way. And here is the part that does not add up. Director Shu was a 5th-rank martial artist. To take him down alongside 21 guards in one location requires someone operating at a completely different level. Vice Director Song drops the conclusion. The demon cult still has a master out there and that master is currently missing. We know exactly who that master is and he just got a standing ovation from the people hunting him. Director Wu asks if they are dealing with a 6th-rank fighter, and Song says it might be even higher than that, because the mystery master apparently teamed up with a demon cult elder to take down Director Shu. The investigation is getting uncomfortably close to the truth and nobody in this room realizes it. A messenger interrupts to say that Elder Lin has sent someone to see them, and the timing of this visit is way too convenient to be coincidence. Director Wu remarks that Elder Lin's intelligence network is impressively fast, then orders the visitor to be let in. He has no idea he is about to get politically outmaneuvered by a man half his age. And who walks in but the second young master Lin himself? Long silver hair, elegant robes, a smile that could negotiate world peace and start 3 wars simultaneously. Director Wu nearly falls over in shock because Elder Lin did not just send a messenger, he sent his own son. The 3 of them stand in that tent, and you can feel the political chess match beginning before anyone even opens their mouth. Young Master Lin takes his seat and explains that his father heard about the demon cult attack and sent him to inquire. The way he says inquire makes it clear this is not a question, it is an audit. Vice Director Song bows and says they already sent notification to the Lin mansion. These men are tripping over themselves to show respect, and young Master Lin has not even made his play yet. And there it is, young Master Lin brings up the elephant in the room. The director position of the Eastern Depot is vacant. Do they have any interim candidates? This is not a casual question, this is the setup for a political installation. He says his father believes they should all consult beforehand, and act with one heart, and ask for a recommendation. That smile right there is doing the heaviest lifting in this entire negotiation. Would you trust this face? Because Director Wu is about to. Director Wu suggests letting Vice Director Song temporarily act as director, which is actually the logical choice. But logic has never won a single round against Chen Yi's faction. Young Master Lin turns to Vice Director Song and asks for his thoughts, and the way he asks tells you he already knows exactly what the answer is going to be. Song waves his hands in panic, insisting he does not have the capability and would only disappoint the imperial household. Whether this refusal is genuine or rehearsed, it opens the exact door that young Master Lin needs. And right on schedule, young Master Lin says since Song refuses, his father has another suggestion, a captain from the Western Depot named Chen Zunming who made great contributions during the incident. There it is. The trap snaps shut. Chen Yi is about to get promoted to run the very organization he just gutted from the inside. Director Wu raises the only valid objection. There is only one Chiliarch position, and it currently belongs to Captain Min. If Chen gets promoted, what happens to her? And Vice Director Song, the man who just refused power for himself, immediately has the solution ready. Demote Chiliarch Min for abandoning her post, make her an overseer, and give the vacancy to Captain Chen. This plan was not thought up in the last 5 seconds. This was choreographed before anyone walked into this tent. They rationalize it by saying Captain Chen is trusted by Elder Lin, and it is only temporary anyway. Director Wu concedes that it is possible, and just like that, Chen Yi is about to become acting director of the Eastern Depot. The fox is officially running the hen house. Young Master Lin takes a sip of tea with the quiet satisfaction of a man who just watched every domino fall exactly where he placed it. Whoever is pulling these strings, whether it is Chen Yi, Elder Lin, or both working together, they just completed a hostile takeover of the Eastern Depot without swinging a single sword. Back at Chen Yi's residence, we cut to the man himself carrying Yin Tingshui in his arms. She is unconscious, barely dressed, and completely at his mercy. The power dynamic in this image alone should be studied as a warning sign. Yin Tingsui opens her eyes, and the first thing she hears is his voice asking if she is awake. That is not a question born from concern. That is a predator confirming his prey is conscious. He asks her if she knows she was wrong, and the manhwa is absolutely not being subtle about the framing of this scene. Yin Tingsui is on full display, and Chen Yi is sitting there like a judge at a trial where the verdict was decided before it started. She reaches toward him, and the vulnerability in that gesture is almost heartbreaking if you forget for a single second that this is a woman reaching out to the man who orchestrated every terrible thing that happened to her. He asks if she will dare to run away again, and she says she would never. The saintess of the demon cult, kneeling and promising obedience, Chen Yi has not just captured her body, he has broken something fundamental about her will to resist. He leans in and tells her that next time she runs, he will not only possess her but do something much worse. The way he delivers that line should qualify as a Geneva Convention violation. He promises to make her pay an unbearable price, and the smile on his face while saying it is the most unhinged thing we have seen from him yet. This man switches between political genius and certified menace with zero buffer time. But then the tone shifts completely. He tells her there is good news, the demon cult's saintess is officially dead. Yin Tingsui stares at him with 4 question marks floating above her head because she is very much still alive. Chen Yi explains that he had someone impersonate her and die in the demonic cult hall in her place. He faked the saintess's death. The Eastern Depot thinks she is gone. The demon cult thinks she is gone, and the only person who knows she is alive is the man who owns her completely. He tells her he has done so much for her, and the twisted part is that from his perspective, he is telling the absolute truth. He saved her from execution, faked her death, and gave her a new identity. The cost is just her freedom, her dignity, and her entire future. And now the bill comes due. He asks if it is time she repaid him, and the manhwa is cranking the fan service up to maximum because Chen Yi is giving the audience a full anatomy lesson while doing it. The audacity of this man to look like that while being this morally bankrupt. Yin Tingsui's face is flushed completely red, caught between resistance and surrender, and the audience is being served an absolutely unreasonable amount of visual content right now. He tells her he is not leaving tonight and will rest right here with her, and at this point the manhwa has fully committed to feeding the audience every single thing they came here for. Chen Yi has won every political battle, every physical fight, and apparently every other kind of conquest too, and that is where we leave things. Chen Yi has taken over the Eastern Depot, eliminated his political enemies, faked the saintess's death, kissed Min Yueqi into a coma, and is now claiming his reward from Yin Tingsui. In one single episode, this man conquered an entire government agency and 2 women. If you are not terrified of Chen Yi by now, you have not been paying attention. Chen Yi is wasting absolutely zero time collecting what he believes he is owed, telling Yin Tingsui she must serve him well. This man just conquered the Eastern Depot and is now conquering the bedroom, and Yin Tingsui notices something that completely rewrites her understanding of this man. Apparently everyone in the capital thinks Chen Yi prefers men, and she is now getting first-hand evidence that this reputation might be entirely fabricated. He answers that question with zero ambiguity. The man who the entire court believes has no interest in women is currently disproving that theory with extreme prejudice. But right in the middle of things, someone calls out that the Regent Master is looking for him. The comedic timing of this interruption is genuinely criminal. A quarter of an hour later, and Chen Yi is sitting there looking like a man who was forced to pause a cutscene at the worst possible moment. Duty calls, even for a man with his particular set of priorities. So he heads to the palace under the night sky, where the political game that never sleeps is about to demand his full attention. Chen Yi arrives and greets young Master Lin and Director Wu, but they cut straight to the point. No need for formalities, they have an important matter to discuss. And when powerful people skip pleasantries, you know the conversation is about to be anything but pleasant. Now here is what Chen Yi already knows. The Lin faction is despised by everyone, common people and court officials alike, yet nobody can touch them. So why would the son of the most corrupt man in the empire come looking for him personally? Chen Yi plays it perfectly, wondering aloud what matter could possibly require young Master Lin to come in person. He already knows the answer, but watching a master manipulator pretend to be humble is entertainment in itself. And there it is! Director Wu drops the bomb that young Master Lin has personally recommended Chen Yi as the temporary successor for Chief of the Eastern Depot. Director Wu can barely contain his surprise, but keep your eye on Chen Yi in the background, completely unfazed. Chen Yi puts on his most convincing humble face and says the matter requires careful consideration. This man killed the previous director, engineered his own promotion, and is now pretending like he needs time to think about it. Young Master Lin does not take no for an answer. He hands over a formal invitation and says refusing will displease his father. That smile while delivering what is essentially a thinly veiled threat is doing some incredibly heavy diplomatic lifting right now. He tells Chen Yi that he is the most suitable candidate and that most people never get this opportunity. The pressure is simultaneously gracious and suffocating, which is peak Lin faction negotiation technique. He sweetens the deal by saying that with Chen Yi in charge of the Eastern Depot, his father can rest easy and focus on spiritual cultivation. Translation: we want a puppet, and you are the prettiest puppet we could find. And Chen Yi sees the trap for exactly what it is. The Lin faction is determined to bind him even deeper into their web. Accept, and he becomes their tool. Refuse, and he becomes their enemy. Neither option is survivable long-term. Young Master Lin reminds him that his father has always looked after Chen Yi and hopes he will not refuse again. That smile is doing more threatening than most people can accomplish with a drawn sword. Would you trust this face? Genuinely, I want an answer. And just like that, young Master Lin bids farewell and exits, leaving the decision hanging in the air like a guillotine blade with a timer on it. Chen Yi stares at that invitation card in his hand and thinks to himself that there is no escaping this one. He has been checkmated by a family that does not even know he is playing a completely different game than they are. But before Chen Yi can process that, Director Wu says he also has something to give him. And whatever this is, remember that Director Wu does not hand out gifts without expecting returns. It is a martial arts manual called the Kangshan Fist, one of the 2 great fist cultivation techniques in the entire world, ranked alongside the legendary Tai Chi Fist. This is not a casual gift, this is a game-changing power boost. Chen Yi immediately recognizes the name and asks where on earth this came from. The fact that his composure actually cracks for a moment tells you exactly how significant this manual is. And here is what rattles him even more. According to the original game timeline, this manual should not appear until a major mid-game event called Chaos in Martial Arts in the world. The fact that it showed up early means the story is deviating from what Chen Yi expected, and that is deeply unsettling for a man who relies on knowing the future. Director Wu explains that Old Master Min entrusted this manual to him for safekeeping, to be given to a worthy person, and apparently Chen Yi fits that description. Whether or not Chen Yi deserves to be called worthy is a debate this Manhwa is not prepared to have. Chen Yi graciously accepts and thanks the chief. 2 major acquisitions in one meeting, a promotion and a legendary martial arts technique. Not bad for a man who was in bed 15 minutes ago. But then Director Wu casually mentions that today the Music Academy is inventorying the female relatives of the Guo Prince's mansion, and Chen Yi's blood goes cold because if they dig too deep, the fact that he secretly took the Guo Prince's daughter will be exposed. This threat is going to matter a lot, so keep it in mind. Half an hour later, Chen Yi arrives at the Music Academy to do some very urgent damage control. And who does he run into but a familiar blue-haired figure calling out to him? This is someone Chen Yi clearly did not expect to find here. Chen Yi asks her directly, "Yan Ning, what are you doing here?" The suspicion in his voice is completely justified because this girl should not be working at a place like this. Yan Ning snaps to attention and reports that she was helping to check the list and has already finished. She is being incredibly professional about what is clearly a deeply humiliating assignment. Chen Yi cannot help himself and comments that he never expected the warm-hearted young Master Yan to be doing this kind of work. Yan Ning's composure shatters immediately, begging him not to humiliate her. And then Chen Yi fires the real question, asking if she is doing all of this for her sister. He already knows the answer, he just wants to watch her admit it. Yan Ning breaks down and offers him a deal. Let her and her sister go, and despite being demoted, she will make things convenient for him in the future. Chen Yi looks down at her and says those words that crush every negotiation. Still not convenient enough. And the system pings in the background. Negative emotion from Yan Ning just netted Chen Yi 3 years of vital energy, bringing his total to 143 years. This man literally farms emotional suffering like a resource. And now he is doing math in his head. He could dump all 143 years of vital energy into the Kangshan Fist for instant mastery. Or he could save it for 7 years and use it for dual cultivation instead. The fact that he is running a cost-benefit analysis between martial arts supremacy and romance options is the most gamer protagonist behavior I have ever seen. He shifts the conversation and brings up the prayer ceremony happening in about 10 days. Yan Ning fires back that she knows about it better than he does and warns him not to try using it to threaten her. This girl has some fight left in her after all. Chen Yi leans in close and tells her she is going to be disappointed. The proximity alone should be classified as psychological warfare. And then he just kisses her. This man was in bed with Yin Tingshui less than an hour ago, negotiated a political promotion 20 minutes ago, and is now kissing a completely different woman against a wall at the Music Academy. Chen Yi's stamina is not just physical, it is emotional and logistical. Yan Ning manages to push him off, panicking that there are people nearby. She went from bargaining for freedom to worrying about witnesses in record time. Her priorities have been completely scrambled. But Chen Yi is not done. He asks her how much she knows about her grandfather's Kangshan Fist. And the casual way he drops that name is designed to make her brain short-circuit. Yan Ning's eyes go wide and she demands to know how he knows about her grandfather's martial art. That secret was supposed to stay within the family, and here is this man tossing it around like common knowledge. Chen Yi tells her he has it right here. Just holds his hand out like he is offering directions, not dropping a family heirloom that was never supposed to leave her bloodline. Yan Ning explodes. She says that is impossible because her grandfather never even passed it down to her own father. The idea that some outsider has the family's greatest technique when the actual family members do not is breaking her mind in real time. Chen Yi simply holds up the book and says seeing is believing. The confidence of this man while casually flexing someone else's ancestral treasure is on a completely different level, and the realization hits her like a truck. It is actually real. Her grandfather's legacy, the technique her family thought was lost forever, is in the hands of the man who just kissed her without permission. Chen Yi now owns her family's past and is about to leverage it for her future. A few hours pass, and the sun is now high in the sky. But the scheming in this manhwa does not stop for daylight. Yan Ning has come home to fill in her older sister on everything, and the pink-haired beauty is shocked to hear that Chen Yi wants both of them to enter the Purple Palace. This family cannot catch a single break. Yan Ning adds the real kicker. Chen Yi also has their grandfather's Kangshen fist manual, the one technique that could restore their family's former glory, and it is locked behind a man who treats people like chess pieces. The elder sister turns to Yan Ning with visible heartbreak and asks her directly, "Do you really want to sacrifice yourself to him?" And the weight of that question fills the entire room. Yan Ning explains her logic. If she approaches Chen Yi on her own terms and plays along willingly, she retains some leverage, but if she waits until he forces the issue, they will have zero room to maneuver. Her sister begs her not to destroy herself in the process. Yan Ning looks at her sister with absolute certainty and says she knows what she is doing. Those blue eyes hold more resolve than most warriors show on a battlefield. She declares that as long as she can protect her sister, she is willing to sacrifice herself. And honestly, in a story full of morally bankrupt schemers, Yan Ning's loyalty to her family might be the most genuinely noble thing we have seen. Yan Ning walks out the door, and her sister can only watch her leave while blaming herself for being useless. The emotional devastation in this room is suffocating. But hold on. Before the tears even dry, a new voice enters the room calling it a beautiful display of sisterly love. And the tone is not sympathetic, it is calculating. This conversation is about to take a very dark turn. The old woman is from Wyong House, and she reminds the pink-haired sister that she once sent a message to the old master about the West Factory's commander wanting to cooperate. These people have been tracking Chen Yi's rise for a while. The sister lays out the political landscape. Now that Director Su is dead, Minister Lin has no one to use, and Chen Yi is set in stone to become the acting chief. She has been paying very close attention to the power shifts. She tells the old woman to pass along a message that Wyong House is interested in befriending Commander Chen. The old woman immediately asks what kind of gift they will prepare for this alliance. And this is where things start to feel extremely transactional. The old woman smiles and reminds her that she is the top courtesan of 100 Flowers House, and that Wyong House invested heavily in promoting her for a decade. It is time to repay that debt. The mask comes off and what is underneath is pure cold business. The old woman lays out the strategy. If Chen Yi wants her as a concubine, she should not agree but also should not refuse. Keep him wanting more. If she does become his concubine, he will eventually grow tired of her. This woman is treating seduction like a military campaign. She gets even more specific. Let him be the first customer, serve him 3 or 4 times in one night, and that will lock his heart down permanently. The detailed nature of these instructions suggests this is not the first time Wyong House has deployed this exact playbook. But wait, it gets worse. The real objective is not seduction, it is sabotage. The old master wants her to find an opportunity to poison Chen Yi with something called the 3 Yang Scattered Qi Ointment. Without the antidote, it will destroy all his martial arts and shatter his meridians permanently. Remember this poison because it is about to become a very important variable in this story. The pink-haired sister stares at that little blue bottle and asks the obvious question. How exactly is she supposed to get close enough to poison a man who can kill 6th-rank fighters? The old woman says she should carry the poison on her body and apply it during a moment of extreme vulnerability. The look on the sister's face tells you she understands exactly what kind of moment that means. This entire plan is designed around using intimacy as a weapon, and the sheer villainy of Wyong House is genuinely impressive. Meanwhile, at the Lin residence, the other faction running this empire is having their own conversation about Chen Yi. Everybody wants a piece of this man, and not all of those pieces are friendly. Elder Lin himself is deep in spiritual cultivation, looking every bit the wise patriarch, but do not let the meditation pose fool you. This man orchestrates political assassinations between breathing exercises. Young Master Lin asks his father directly. He still does not understand why Elder Lin cares so much about Chen Yi specifically. It is a fair question, and the answer is about to rewrite everything we thought we knew about the power dynamics at play. Elder Lin reveals that the Empress Dowager herself is going to summon Chen Yi today. That is not a casual meeting request. When the most powerful woman in the empire calls you personally, the stakes are life and death. Young Master Lin points out that the Empress Dowager rarely summons court officials for private audiences, so why would she want to meet with Chen Yi alone? The question hangs in the air, and the answer is far darker than anyone in this room suspects. Elder Lin drops the backstory. A month ago, their family guards found a young man of unknown origin in the capital. After investigation, he claimed to be a descendant of the Chen clan of Jin State, and that name carries a blood-soaked history. Here's the history. The Jin State's Chen clan conquered Luoxia City and slaughtered every living soul inside, young and old alike. And among the victims was the main branch of the An clan, who held high office in the capital. The same An clan that the current Empress Dowager belongs to. Elder Lin asks rhetorically how the Empress Dowager could ever forget such a blood feud. And young Master Lin puts together the horrifying implication. Is the Empress Dowager going to use Chen Yi as a tool to take revenge on his own clan? The pieces are all falling into place, and none of them are falling in Chen Yi's favor. Young Master Lin raises the obvious objection. There are millions of people with the Chen surname. Is he really from that specific clan? And Elder Lin delivers the most chillingly pragmatic line of this entire episode. It does not matter if he is or not. As long as the Empress Dowager believes he is, he is. And with that, we move to the Imperial Palace itself, the biggest arena in this entire political battlefield. Chen Yi is walking into the lion's den, and he does not even know just how many lions are inside. A court eunuch announces that Commander Chen Yi of the West Factory requests an audience. The reply comes back immediately. Granted. No delays, no waiting. The Empress has been expecting him. The eunuch leads Chen Yi inside, and our boy looks entirely composed, walking like he owns the place. But he is about to meet someone who actually does. Chen Yi enters the throne room and immediately bows, greeting the Grand Empress Dowager with full protocol, and then she wastes no time. Minister Lin has recommended him for the position of acting East Factory Chief. Does he have the ability to handle it? Chen Yi delivers the perfect response, pledging to do his best and saying he only wishes to share the burden of the monarch and mother. The man could sell ice to a blizzard. And here she is, Empress Dowager N, seated on the throne in full imperial regalia, looking every bit as dangerous as everyone warned us she would be. She compliments his answer, says his loyalty is reassuring, but then adds a single word that changes everything. She reveals that Director Wu intercepted a memorial about Chen Yi. Apparently it says he took a maid from the Prince of Xiang's residence, and the way she raises this topic is not anger, it is curiosity. Specifically the kind of curiosity that precedes a trap. Chen Yi immediately raises the memorial to explain himself. He is not running from the accusation, he is confronting it head-on. But the Empress Dowager is not interested in excuses. She asks the strangest possible question. Did he take the maid as his legal wife or his concubine? Why would the Empress Dowager care about that specific detail? Chen Yi is clearly wondering the same thing. Chen Yi starts to say there might be some misunderstanding, but you can tell his instincts are screaming that something about this line of questioning is deeply off. The Empress is probing for something very specific. Chen Yi's internal alarm bells are ringing. Why would the Empress Dowager of all people care about whether his woman is a wife or a concubine? That is not a question born from protocol. That is a question born from a specific plan that needs a specific answer. He answers that the maid is a concubine, and the Empress Dowager lights up. A concubine is perfect, she says, because she has other plans for his legal wife position. Let that sink in. The most powerful woman in the empire just told Chen Yi she is going to pick his wife for him. As the eunuch tells him to thank Her Majesty quickly, Chen Yi's mind is racing. He has never seen this part of the story before. Could this be a hidden storyline from the original game that he never encountered? For the first time, Chen Yi is playing without a walkthrough. He bows deeply and thanks the Empress for her great favor. On the outside, perfectly grateful. On the inside, frantically calculating what kind of marriage arrangement could be worth the personal attention of the Empress Dowager. The Empress praises his loyalty and piety, then tells him to go to the medicinal kitchen to drink his medicine before leaving. Medicine? What medicine? Nobody mentioned medicine, and yet Chen Yi accepts without question because you do not argue with an empress. As the eunuch leads him to the medicinal kitchen, Chen Yi is deeply suspicious. Go drink medicine? What kind of medicine? What game is the Empress Dowager actually playing here? And honestly, the answer to that question is something nobody in this story is prepared for. And now the curtain pulls back on the Empress Dowager's true intentions. She is not nurturing Chen Yi. She is raising the son of her enemy specifically so that one day he can be forced to personally exterminate his own clan. This is not politics. This is vengeance refined into art form. And her philosophy is even more twisted than the plan. She believes killing the body is not enough. You cannot kill the spirit. Only total humiliation can truly satisfy her revenge. This woman has been nursing this grudge for decades, and she has had plenty of time to make it creative. Here's the final piece. The Chen clan's main branch has an only daughter. If she marries that daughter to Chen Yi, they would technically become siblings, which is a catastrophic violation of ethics and filial duty. She is going to weaponize marriage itself as an instrument of destruction. This might be the single most diabolical revenge scheme in this entire manhwa. The eunuch summarizes the Empress's will. Your Chen clan exterminated our An clan's main branch, so we will not only exterminate your entire clan, but destroy your morals and ethics in the process. Chen Yi walked into this palace thinking he was playing everyone, but the Empress Dowager has been playing a game that started before he was even born, and our boy has absolutely no idea what is coming for him. Back at the Imperial Palace, someone calls out for the Empress Dowager, and she is not in a pleasant mood. Her personal enforcer appears, a woman known as the Nameless Second. And she is a second-rank grandmaster. Keep your eye on this one, because she is about to matter a whole lot more than you think. The Empress asks if anything has been discovered about the death of Shu Yu. She wants answers, and she wants them yesterday. The Nameless Second reports that the Magpie informants traced the rumors about Su Yu colluding with the demonic cult straight back to Wyong Tower. So the same faction that wanted to send a honey trap to Chen Yi is also playing information warfare. And the Empress Dowager is absolutely livid. She declares that Wyong Tower has been tolerated for far too long, and now they dare to harm her Directorate of Ceremonial. This woman does not forgive, and she certainly does not forget. She orders a full strike against Hwayong Tower and a complete purge of their informants. The nameless second bows and accepts without hesitation. When the Empress says purge, she means scorched earth. The Empress Dowager turns and strides through her throne room alone, demanding everything be cleaned thoroughly. This woman is about to dismantle an entire organization before lunch. Meanwhile, in the medicinal kitchen, a bowl of mysterious broth is being offered to our protagonist. "Commander Chen, come drink your medicine," they tell him. Chen Yi stares into the bowl and immediately starts questioning what kind of medicinal broth this actually is. And honestly, given everything we learned about the Empress Dowager's true intentions last episode, he has every right to be suspicious. The eunuch flashes the most untrustworthy smile imaginable and tells him it is a great tonic, drink it quickly. Nobody who smiles like that while handing you unknown liquid has your best interests at heart. And Chen Yi drinks it, just tips the bowl back and gulps it down right there in the medicinal kitchen while the eunuch watches approvingly. But here is the thing about our protagonist. He recognizes the smell instantly. This is not a tonic at all. It is the exact same poison broth they gave him a month ago. The Empress Dowager has been slowly poisoning him this entire time, and now he has proof. But Chen Yi is already 3 steps ahead. He knows the method of detoxification, even if it requires rare heavenly materials and earthly treasures. The Empress is playing a long game, and so is he. When the eunuch cheerfully asks how it tastes, Chen Yi hands back the empty bowl and says the taste is very good. The acting on display right now deserves an award. This man just drank confirmed poison and is giving a Yelp review. He casually announces he has other things to attend to and takes his leave, walking away from the crime scene like he was not just the victim of attempted slow assassination. Back at Chen Yi's residence, Yin Tingshui is rummaging through the medicine cabinets, and the view right now is absolutely doing its job. The artist knew exactly what they were drawing here. Chen Yi walks in and asks what she is looking for, and the framing of this shot with Yin Tingshui in the foreground is genuinely criminal. The Manhwa is not even trying to be subtle about the fan service anymore. She tells him she was bored and wanted to find some books to read. Chen Yi looks at her like reading is absolutely not what he had in mind for the evening. And then he pins her against the cabinet and asks if she wants him to keep her company. This man went from drinking poison to flirting in under 5 minutes. His ability to compartmentalize is genuinely terrifying. Yin Tingshui blushes and tells him no, but the way she says it with that look on her face is sending the complete opposite message. This woman is not fooling anyone. He tells her it is fine because she will be keeping him company for the rest of her life anyway. And that line combined with where his hand is right now is making this scene feel like it should cost money to watch. But the mood gets interrupted when a servant announces that Yan Ming is requesting an audience. Chen Yi and Yin Tingshui pull apart, and a brand new player has just entered the field. Chen Yi repeats the name with genuine surprise. Yan Ming? Coming to find him of her own accord. He is thinking she would actually come to him on her own initiative. This was not part of his script, and anything unscripted in this world is either an opportunity or a trap. Yan Ming spots him and calls out Commander, and Chen Yi steps out to meet her. Now remember, this is the girl that Hwayong Tower sent to get close to him. The question is whether Chen Yi knows that too. Chen Yi wastes no time. He tells her people only visit when they have business, so what exactly does she want? Straight to the point, no pleasantries, pure power dynamics. Yan Ming delivers the news. Hwayong Tower has agreed to the cooperation. And just like that, the faction that the Empress Dowager is about to destroy has chosen to ally with Chen Yi. The timing could not be worse. Chen Yi immediately starts pushing boundaries. Since they are going to cooperate, should she not show some sincerity? And then he straight up asks if she is offering to be his bed-warming concubine. The absolute brazenness of this man is a spectator sport at this point, and Yan Ming does not even flinch. She says since he already has that awareness, she is willing. Hold on, she is supposed to be the one getting manipulated here, so why does it feel like she walked into this knowing exactly what he would ask? Chen Yi does not hesitate for a single second. He scoops her up and tells her to come inside. This man collects women like other people collect trading cards, and I need everyone to acknowledge how unhinged that is. He carries her inside and Yan Ming immediately spots Yin Tingshui on the floor. Her reaction is priceless. There is another person in here. Yes, there is. Welcome to the harem, population growing. Chen Yi casually asks, what, you do not like it? Like he is offering her a slightly different restaurant option and not a shared bedroom situation. Yan Ming, blushing furiously, suggests they maybe go to the guest room instead. That face is doing a remarkable job of selling the shy concubine act, but we know what she is really here for. Chen Yi shuts that down immediately. Right here, he says. And Yan Ming stammers out a but while looking like she is rapidly losing control of this situation she thought she had planned. Chen Yi tells her not to be shy because Yin Tingshui is also his concubine, so they are all one family. And Yan Ming is internally screaming, wondering what kind of fetish this man has and whether she really has to play along. The answer is yes, because the poison is not going to deliver itself. But before things can escalate any further, an alarm rings out. Hwayong Tower's villains are outside, and the order is to kill on sight. Chen Yi reacts instantly. Killing outside the Donghua Gate, Yan Ming confirms something major is happening out there. And suddenly the romantic tension has been replaced by the regular kind of tension. Outside, Yan Ming's people are in full retreat. They have been targeted, and the Empress Dowager's forces are closing in fast. The purge against Wyong Tower is sweeping up everyone connected to them. And then the nameless second herself appears, declaring that she is taking down Wyong Tower for good. She attacks Yan Ming's companion mid-air, and this second-rank Grandmaster is not playing around. When I told you to watch this woman, this is why. Yan Ming's servant hits the ground hard, completely outmatched. A second-rank Grandmaster against regular soldiers is not a fight, it is an execution. Chen Yi steps outside with Yan Ming and surveys the carnage, asking what is going on. But here is the problem. If the Empress's forces find out Yan Ming has any connection to Wyong Tower, she is dead on the spot. The casualties are already piling up. Blood on the stones, bodies on the ground. The Empress Dowager does not do half measures. Yan Ming spots the nameless second leading a squad of soldiers in the distance, and the look in her eyes is pure fear. She recognizes exactly who that woman is, and exactly how dangerous this situation has become. Yan Ming asks if her grandmother has been targeted too, and Chen Yi's expression darkens. He warns the Magpie Pavilion not to push things too far, but privately he is calculating his next move at lightning speed. Chen Yi's men move to confront the nameless second, ordering her forces to stand down. But a second-rank Grandmaster is not someone you order around. She responds by telling them to be quiet. One of Chen Yi's men charges in, and the nameless second declares she will fight them to the death. This elderly woman is about to dismantle trained soldiers, and she looks genuinely excited about it. The fight erupts in close quarters, and the power gap is immediately obvious. Chen Yi's guard is putting up everything he has, and the old woman is treating it like morning exercise. She breaks free and taunts them. Want to kill her? It will not be that easy. The soldiers give chase, but catching a second-rank Grandmaster who does not want to be caught is not happening. Now here is the real crisis. Chen Yi says if the nameless second comes their way, he is finished. And Yan Ming is frantically trying to figure out the best course of action. Two schemers caught with no scheme. Yan Ming suggests that maybe Chen Yi should go lure the soldiers away, and the look on her face says she knows this is a terrible plan, but it is the only one she has got. Instead of running, Chen Yi starts stripping, just removes his shirt right there. Yan Ming is completely bewildered, asking what he is doing, and honestly, everyone watching is asking the same question. He pushes her against the wall while she is still stammering about luring them away. But Chen Yi has a completely different strategy in mind, and it involves looking as compromised as possible. And then he kisses her. Full commitment, no hesitation. Is this man using romance as a tactical maneuver right now? Is this the most galaxy-brained way to hide a spy from an enemy that anyone has ever attempted? Would you trust this strategy with your life? Be honest. Yan Ming is completely flustered, trying to point out that this is really not the time. But Chen Yi is banking everything on the idea that nobody suspects a man caught in a compromising position. He pulls her in close, shirtless, and completely committed to the act. And I have to say, using intimacy as camouflage is either the most brilliant or the most insane defense strategy in the history of this manhwa. He tells her to stop acting like he is that impatient, and to just cooperate with him. And for the first time, Yan Ming realizes this is not desire, this is a plan. A shirtless, questionable, but undeniably creative plan. And the timing is perfect because the nameless second rounds the corner at exactly this moment. She sees Chen Yi half-naked, kissing a woman in the courtyard, and calls out his name. The trap is set. Yan Ming squeaks out "Grandma" in utter embarrassment, and between the blushing and the compromising position, this is selling the act perfectly. The nameless second walked into exactly the scene Chen Yi wanted her to see. Chen Yi quickly throws his clothes back on while the nameless second accuses him of secretly hiding a villain. Her suspicion is laser-focused, and one wrong answer here means both Chen Yi and Yan Ming are in mortal danger. Chen Yi puts on his most innocent face, wraps his arm around Yan Ming, and introduces her as his new concubine. The sheer audacity of this lie delivered with a straight face to a second-rank Grandmaster who could kill him is performance art. The nameless second is not buying it on words alone. She says she can tell if someone is a villain just by touching them and orders Yan Ming to come over. Chen Yi tells her to go. This is the moment of truth. Yan Ming approaches the Grandmaster and silently prays for safety as the old woman grabs her. One spark of cultivation energy detected, and this entire performance collapses. Everything rides on this single touch. The nameless second releases her and declares that Yan Ming has no cultivation base at all. She really is not a person from Wyong Tower. And just like that, Chen Yi's insane strategy actually works. Sometimes the best disguise is no disguise at all. The old woman warns Chen Yi that there has been a disturbance outside Donghua Gate and he should be serving the Empress instead of seeking pleasure. She threatens to hold the West Factory accountable if anything goes wrong. Chen Yi bows and thanks her for the warning. Perfectly humble, perfectly calculated. The nameless second turns and leaves with a final "take care of yourself." The threat wrapped in politeness is almost elegant, but the important thing is that she is gone and Yan Ming is still breathing. Yan Ming lets out a massive sigh of relief, saying thankfully they managed to conceal it. And honestly, that entire sequence of events was the most creative use of a shirtless scene I have ever witnessed in any manhwa. Tactical kissing should be a recognized martial art. But wait, something is very wrong. Yan Ming's legs start trembling and she is clearly in distress. The relief lasted approximately 3 seconds before a new problem showed up. Chen Yi notices immediately and rushes to her side, asking what is wrong. And this is where the story takes a turn that nobody in the room is prepared for. Yanming gasps out the words, "Poison. It is poison." Remember that little blue bottle from last episode? Remember the plan to use intimacy as a weapon? The poison that was meant for Chen Yi is now destroying Yanming from the inside out. She clings to him begging to be saved, and Chen Yi demands to know what kind of poison and where it was applied. He is already in doctor mode, and the urgency in his voice is real. She identifies it as Three Suns Scattered Qi, and the terror in her eyes tells you everything you need to know about how deadly that name is. This is not a mild inconvenience. This is a death sentence. She asks if it is the kind of poison that causes meridian rupture, and Chen Yi confirms, yes. If this is not treated immediately, her entire cultivation potential will be destroyed permanently. Not that she has any, but the physical damage alone could kill her. Chen Yi presses harder. Where exactly was the poison applied? And the answer to this question is about to make this the most uncomfortable rescue mission in this entire story. Yanming can barely get the words out, face completely red, pointing downward and stammering. Down there. The poison was applied exactly where Huayang Tower's old woman told her to put it, on the part of her body meant to make contact during intimacy. This is simultaneously tragic and unbelievably awkward. Chen Yi stares at her and the full picture clicks into place. She was not just a concubine candidate, she was a walking weapon. The poison was designed to transfer to him during their most intimate moment, and now it is eating her alive instead. She is clinging to him desperately, begging to be saved. And despite the fact that this woman literally came here to poison him, Chen Yi does not hesitate. He carries her inside to treat it. Back inside, with Yin Tingshui watching from the side, Chen Yi cleans the poison ointment with fresh water. 2 concubines in one room, one nearly dying from her own assassination tool. He produces an elixir that can relieve the spread of the poisonous qi and offers it to her. The man she came to kill is now the only one who can save her life. The irony of this situation could power a small city. Yanming takes the elixir with tears of gratitude, thanking him over and over. And looking at her face right now, the guilt is already starting to crush her harder than the poison ever could. And then Chen Yi drops the hammer. You wanted to become my bed-warming concubine, yet you applied poison down there. What exactly are you scheming? The mask is off, and Chen Yi knew. He knew the entire time. Yanming drops to her knees and begs for mercy, swearing that Huayang Tower forced her to do it. And honestly, she is not lying. The old woman from Huayang Tower designed this entire trap, and Yanming was just the delivery mechanism. Chen Yi is not letting her off that easily. Spare you? You poisoned him and almost caused his death. Huayang Tower may have been wrong, but is she without fault? And that is genuinely a fair question. Would you forgive someone who tried to assassinate you even if they were coerced? Yanming admits everything. Her concubine was wrong. Huayang Tower forced her. She did not want to do it, but she was still wrong. The way she keeps referring to herself as your concubine in the third person while sobbing on the floor is genuinely heartbreaking. She offers to buy her own freedom and serve him as his personal maid and servant for the rest of her life. She is essentially trading her entire existence for forgiveness. And Chen Yi stands there weighing whether mercy or punishment serves his plans better. Chen Yi stares into the distance, calculating. He has a would-be assassin offering eternal servitude, an empress dowager slowly poisoning him, a political purge happening outside his door, and 2 women in his bedroom. This man's life is a full-time job, and next episode the bill is about to come due. Chen Yi tells Yanming to stay here and atone for what she's done. And just like that, the woman who came to poison him is now officially a permanent resident of his household. Yanming can barely believe it, asking if he's really agreeing to let her stay. The relief on her face is almost painful to watch, because this girl genuinely thought she was about to die 5 minutes ago. Chen Yi turns to leave and tells Yin Tingshui to keep a close eye on Yanming. Do not let her run away. So now Yin Tingshui is officially the babysitter of a former assassin, and this household just keeps getting more interesting. And Yin Tingshui is over here having a full character reassessment. She's thinking maybe he's gone soft, maybe he's not as terrible as she assumed. The man is speedrunning his way into her good graces without even trying. Meanwhile, Chen Yi is not wasting a single second. He's studying martial arts texts because with all the major powers stirring, he knows he needs to get stronger fast. Keep your eye on what he's reading here, because it's about to matter a lot. He's made first contact with something called the Azure Mountain Fist, and his system confirms it's an extremely profound martial art, so naturally he's going all in, dedicating himself to mastering it completely. But after what amounts to 2 full years of simulated study, the system tells him he failed, and Chen Yi is genuinely shocked, because this fist manual is apparently no joke. Most martial arts bend the knee after 2 years, but this one said absolutely not. So he grinds for 5 more years, drilling stances and forms over and over, letting the boxing principles absorb into his body. 5 years of maximum effort, and the result? Minimal progress. This technique is built different. By the 20th year, he abandons forms entirely and just tries to grasp the deeper philosophy behind it. This meditation lasts decades, day after day, year after year. The dedication required for this technique is genuinely insane. And in the 49th year, he finally gets it. He throws a single punch and the surroundings tremble. Azure Mountain Fist. Beginner level unlocked. 49 years for beginner. Let that sink in for a moment. Here's the wild part. 49 years of true chi would have brought any other martial art to perfect completion and beyond. But the Azure Mountain Fist? Still at beginner. This technique has the steepest learning curve in the entire story so far. But even at beginner level, when he tests it out, the power is devastating. He shatters stone like it's nothing. And this is where we get a quick breakdown of this world's ranking system. The martial arts of this world are divided into 9 ranks, and anything below the rankings is considered unranked, basically fodder tier. The fact that Chen Yi is smashing boulders tells you he's well past that. At the lower 3rd rank, chi flows through the meridians and you can take on 10 people at once. That's already superhuman territory, and it only gets crazier from there. The middle 3rd rank means you can rival armored soldiers, your weapons can pierce through metal plating. You're basically a one-man battalion at that point. And at the upper 3rd rank, you've mastered martial arts with true chi overflowing. You earn the title of minor grandmaster. That's where the real monsters live. Chen Yi calculates that his current strength is already approaching middle 3rd rank. And once the Azure Mountain Fist develops further, he should break into the 6th rank. This man is speedrunning the power system while everyone else is still doing the tutorial. The next day rolls around, and Chen Yi has somewhere to be. But here's where things start to feel a little off, and I want you to pay attention to what happens next. He's strolling through the capital streets heading to the Eastern Depot. Now remember, Chen Yi runs the West Factory, but the Eastern Depot is a whole different beast with its own people and its own politics. He's met by a man named Wang Gu who welcomes him as Lord Commander and offers to show him around. Chen Yi says he came to build rapport with the Eastern Depot brothers so everyone can coordinate for the upcoming prayer rite. Wang Gu is all smiles, says he just happens to have a case file ready, and suggests Chen Yi review it to learn how the Eastern Depot operates. Chen Yi agrees without hesitation, and that right there, that's the first red flag. Chen Yi tells him to lead the way, and Wang Gu is only too happy to comply. Something about how convenient this all is does not sit right, and we're gonna find out why soon enough. The case file describes commoners privately building infant pagodas in the northwest suburbs of the capital. If you don't know what that is, buckle up because this gets dark fast. Chen Yi reads the file as they walk and repeats it back. Privately building infant pagodas? The confusion in his voice is already turning into something sharper. He explains what he knows. Infant pagodas were originally built to abandon babies born with deformities or illness. But over time, commoners started throwing in healthy babies they simply couldn't afford to raise. Most of them were girls. And here it is in all its horrifying detail. Babies crying outside a pagoda, abandoned by families who saw them as mouths they couldn't feed. This is genuinely one of the darkest things this manhwa has shown us. It gets worse. Some villages didn't just abandon the babies, they drowned them, burned them, murdered infants to quote-unquote scare away reincarnation. This story just went from palace intrigue to genuine atrocity in 3 panels. Chen Yi crumples the scroll in his fist, and you can see the anger radiating off him. The reason for all of it, poverty. Families who simply cannot afford another child. His expression right now says everything his words don't. Wang Gu explains that the palace is worried the malevolent energy from the pagoda will ruin the capital's feng shui, so the Eastern Depot is being sent to handle it. Chen Yi immediately takes charge and demands to see it personally, citing imperial law that punishes child killers with enslavement. Wang Gu agrees instantly, saying they'll set off right away. And that little smile on his face right there, remember it, because a man this eager to take you on a field trip outside the capital always has a reason. They ride out with a full escort of embroidered uniformed guards. Chen Yi at the front, Wang Gu beside him, soldiers trailing behind. It looks official and organized, which is exactly what it's supposed to look like. Chen Yi questions why they need so many guards just to deal with one infant pagoda. Wang Gu explains that corrupt officials have pushed commoners to the point of revolt, so extra manpower is just a precaution. The explanation sounds reasonable enough, but Chen Yi is already doing the math in his head, and then the pagoda comes into view and it is surrounded by ghostly blue spirits. The malevolent energy pouring off this thing is visible to the naked eye. Whatever happened inside those walls left spiritual scars on the very air around it. The riders approach and the sheer scale of this structure becomes clear. This isn't some small abandoned building. This is a multi-story tower leaking supernatural resentment, and they're about to walk right into it. They arrive and Wang Gu tells Chen Yi to dismount. But something is already nagging at Chen Yi's instincts. He's looking at the situation and the pieces aren't quite fitting together. Instead of dismounting like a good little soldier, Chen Yi draws his blade and orders everyone arrested. Find who built the pagoda, find the accomplices, escort them all to the capital. He's not here to investigate, he's here to deliver justice. But Wang Gu is still on his horse, and now things start to feel genuinely wrong. He keeps insisting that Chen Yi dismount first, which is a very specific and very suspicious request to repeat 3 times. Chen Yi's eyes narrow, and he asks if Wang Gu didn't hear what he just said. That look right there is the look of a man who has figured out exactly what's happening and is deciding how much violence to apply. And Wang Gu? He has the nerve to smile and say he didn't expect Chen Yi to still harbor compassion. That line right there is the giveaway. He's not complimenting Chen Yi, he's testing him. And there it is. The soldiers turn on Chen Yi and demand he dismount. This entire trip was never about the infant pagoda. It was an ambush, and Chen Yi just walked right into the middle of it. Now Chen Yi starts putting it together out loud. This place isn't far from the capital. Any patrol would have found a tower this obvious, and that case file had clearly been sitting around for years. So why bring it to him today? The whole thing was engineered from the start. Wang Gu drops the act entirely and starts ranting about the Lin faction ruining court affairs. He accuses Chen Yi of siding with them and asks if this infant pagoda was built by his precious Ding'an party to make the Lin faction look bad. Now we see the real game. This is faction warfare, and Chen Yi just became the battlefield. Wang Gu goes full politician mode, talking about how the Ding'an party wants to prepare a world-saving prescription for Great Yu and how sometimes treating poison requires scraping bone. He's dressing up murder in noble language, and honestly, is there anything more dangerous than a man who believes his own propaganda? He doubles down with a question that reveals everything. If it weren't for the Lin faction's chaos, why would common people have to kill their own infants? He's using dead babies as political ammunition, and the look in his eyes says he's fully prepared to add Chen Yi to the body count. And that's when Chen Yi decides the conversation is over. He draws his sword and unleashes a chi slash that tears the ground apart. No more talking, no more politics, just steel. Wang Gu's horse rears back in panic as he screams for Chen Yi to dismount, but it's way too late for demands now. He had his chance to walk away, and he chose treason instead. The soldiers charge in from all sides, swords drawn. It's a full coordinated attack, and Chen Yi is completely outnumbered. Would you bet on the one man or the entire squad? Because I know my answer. Chen Yi cuts through the first attacker before the man even finishes his charge. One swing, one kill, no hesitation. The Azure Mountain Fist wasn't the only thing he's been sharpening. Wang watches one of his men go down instantly and the panic sets in. He screams for everyone to attack at once, because he just realized that Chen Yi is not the easy target he was advertised as. The remaining soldiers come flying and screaming about Lin faction traitors. They're throwing everything they have at one man, convinced that sheer numbers will do the job. Chen Yi mutters one word, and then unleashes a wall of golden flames that engulfs the attackers whole. One word, one attack, an entire squad erased. This might be the most casual massacre we've witnessed in this entire manhwa. Wang Gu is absolutely horrified, stammering about how Chen Yi's inner force is terrifying and questioning whether he's really just a Qianhu. Congratulations my guy, you just figured out you brought a political assassination squad to fight a hidden boss. Chen Yi tears through the remaining soldiers like they're training dummies. He's fighting multiple opponents simultaneously and not a single one can touch him. The gap in power isn't a gap, it's a canyon. Wang Gu watches his entire plan disintegrate in real time, and the expression on his face is the universal look of a man who realizes he has made the worst miscalculation of his extremely short remaining career. Chen Yi swings, and the blade arc is enormous, cutting through armor and flesh with equal ease. The sound effects in this panel tell you everything. This is not a fight, it's a demonstration. Wang Gu curses under his breath, finally understanding that he didn't lure a target into a trap. He lured a predator into a cage with himself. But instead of running, Wang Gu decides to go all in. He charges at Chen Yi with his own energy technique, swearing he'll root out this Lin faction traitor today no matter what. Respect the commitment, question the intelligence. And Chen Yi just stands there, not dodging, not flinching, just standing in the middle of the onslaught like he's waiting for a bus. The confidence radiating off this man could power the entire capital. He casually tells Wang Gu that his blade is too slow. Not that it's weak, not that it's pathetic, just too slow. As if he's reviewing a sparring session and offering constructive feedback before ending a man's whole career. One strike sends Wang Gu flying across the clearing. The man who orchestrated this entire ambush is now airborne and regretting every single life choice that led him to this moment. Even while bleeding out with his robes shredded, Wang Gu still manages to threaten Chen Yi, warning that those who side with the Lin faction won't have a good end. This man's dedication to being wrong is genuinely impressive. Chen Yi responds with the coldest line of the episode. The Lin faction may harm the realm, but that doesn't give you the excuse to harm it too. He's not defending any faction. He's drawing his own line in the dirt. Wang Gu collapses and begs for a quick death. And honestly, after planning an assassination, luring Chen Yi out of the capital, and using dead babies as political cover, a quick death might be more mercy than he deserves. But Chen Yi doesn't kill him. Instead, he says he originally didn't care about the Ding'an party at all, but now they've forced him to pay attention, which is a terrifying thing to hear from a man who just soloed your entire strike team. He doesn't let him off completely clean though. Chen Yi takes one more swing and the cut is precise. Not fatal, but absolutely unforgettable. This is a message, not a mercy killing. And right on cue, new figures appear in the distance. A small group approaching the battlefield, and the timing of their arrival is suspicious in a way that makes you wonder just how much of this was being watched. And leading the group is a new face. Blue hair, sharp outfit, and an expression of genuine surprise at the scene in front of her. She was clearly not expecting to walk into a bloodbath today. She sees Chen Yi standing casually among fallen soldiers, sword dripping blood, surrounded by the aftermath of what can only be described as a one-sided demolition. And he's not even breathing hard. Wang Gu stares at the bloodied blade pointed at him and gets Chen Yi's warning delivered one more time. The Ding'an party started this fight, and now Chen Yi has every reason to finish it. Then, in the most composed power move possible, Chen Yi sheaths his sword and offers to have someone stop Wang Gu's bleeding, apply medicine, and send him back to the capital. He just beat this man half to death and is now offering first aid. The disrespect is surgical. He tells Wang Gu he's sparing his life, but only so he can go back and deliver a message to the Dingyan party and Prince Jing personally. Explain exactly what happened here today. Chen Yi is turning this man into a living warning letter. Wang Gu, even from the ground, still has the defiance to threaten him back. You can kill me, but not Prince Jing. Even the entire Eastern Depot couldn't control the Dingyan party. Give this man credit for keeping that energy while bleeding out. And Chen Yi drops the hardest line of this entire series so far. Those the Eastern Depot dares not kill, he will kill. Matters the Eastern Depot dares not handle, he will handle. He just declared himself above the entire intelligence apparatus of the Empire. The absolute audacity of this man. He calls out to the blue-haired newcomer by name, Min Ning. So he knows her, and apparently she was supposed to be here. She responds with a confused expression like she's still processing the fact that her boss just annihilated a small army. He calmly asks her to help collect the bodies and escort Wang Gu back. And Min Ning is staring at him thinking one very reasonable thought. This man just killed all these people and he's still smiling. Why is he still smiling? His system triggers in the background, absorbing negative emotions and converting them into true qi. Meanwhile, Chen Yi casually explains to Min Ning that Wang Gu and the others were deliberately allowing the infant tower to exist for political gain. They weren't here to save babies. They were using dead children as chess pieces. Chen Yi orders all children rescued from the tower and sent to a nursery, and every ringleader who built it arrested with no exceptions. His soldiers respond with immediate loyalty. Whatever they just witnessed has solidified their faith in this man completely. And Min Ning stands there watching all of this unfold, and a thought crosses her mind that we've heard before from another woman in this story. Is he actually not that bad? Chen Yi keeps collecting people who showed up expecting a villain and found something far more complicated. Chen Yi walks up to Min Ning and hands her a book, saying it's a reward for arriving on time. She asks why, and honestly, so should you. Because Chen Yi never does anything without a reason, and whatever is in that book is going to change things in ways we haven't even begun to see yet. Min Ning actually tries to refuse the book, saying she has no way to repay him and would rather trade for it properly later. And Chen Yi is genuinely impressed. He's thinking this woman actually has self-respect. In a world full of schemers and backstabbers, that alone makes her stand out. Several hours pass and the scene shifts back to Chen Yi's residence under a gorgeous full moon. Chen Yi strolls back home like he didn't just single-handedly dismantle a political assassination plot, casually announcing he's back. He walks into his bedroom and finds Yin Tingshui sitting up on the bed, asking how she slept. Keep in mind, this is the mystical fox spirit he's been harboring. And Yin Tingshui looks absolutely radiant as she tells him the sleep was wonderful, and that she even had a dream. Remember this detail about the dream because it matters more than you think. She describes the dream to him. She saw Chen Yi walking with a one-armed woman, and the two of them were arguing. Now that is a very specific vision for a random dream. She continues saying the woman in her dream insisted on taking her away and that she harbors deep hatred for Chen Yi. Yin Tingshui's dreams have been prophetic before, so this is essentially a warning. She asks him if he knows who this woman is, claiming her dreams are always accurate. And without hesitation, Chen Yi identifies her. Yin Tingshui connects the dots immediately. Yin Sword Mountain, the sword armor herself, Zhou Yitang, ranked number 9 on the entire martial ranking. That is not someone you want as an enemy. But here is the adorable part. Yin Tingshui asks how he knows another woman, and then catches herself feeling uncomfortable about it. She is 100% jealous, and has zero idea why. Chen Yi gently pats her head and explains that he knows Zhou Yitang, but she doesn't necessarily know him yet. And Yin Tingshui just melts under his hand with a quiet acceptance that is doing things to my heart. He tells her to rest and recover from her injuries, promising he won't bully her during this time. Wait until a little later, he says. The fact that he specified later is simultaneously sweet and threatening. Now we cut to a location that should set off every alarm bell in your brain. Prince Jing's residence. And whatever is about to happen in there is going to be a problem for everyone. Inside, someone is absolutely furious, demanding to know who made the unauthorized decision to assassinate a 5th-rank Imperial Guard commander. The failed assassination from last episode has officially reached the top of the food chain. The kneeling subordinate can barely form words. You can practically see his career flashing before his eyes. But then Prince Jing calmly speaks up and takes full responsibility. Elder Ji, it was my intention. This man just confessed to ordering a hit on a government official, and he doesn't even blink. Elder Ji demands to know why. Prince Jing explains that Chen Yi is a member of the Lin faction, and if he takes charge of the East Factory, years of the Dingyan party's planning will be ruined. So the assassination was political housekeeping. The plan was simple. Kill Chen Yi, let someone named Song Tong take over as director. Song Tong belongs to no faction, making him easy to manipulate. Classic puppet master strategy. But Elder Ji is livid. He asks the one question Prince Jing clearly did not think through. Now that the assassination failed, has he considered what the consequences of leaving Chen Yi alive actually are? And Prince Jing hits back with the most arrogant response possible. So what if he survived? Can a mere West Factory commander cause an uprising? He declares that only His Majesty is heaven and only the Empress Dowager is the Heavenly Mother. The ego on this man is breathtaking. Elder Ji sighs and accepts the situation, saying they can only clean up the mess now. When your advisor is already in damage control mode, you know the original plan was a disaster. Prince Jing sits there in silence, and you can see the gears turning behind those closed eyes. He's not done. Not even close. Then he drops the real plan. Why not be more decisive and send a 5th-rank master to eliminate Chen Yi? He just escalated from political assassination to calling in a straight-up martial arts boss fight. Elder Ji immediately shuts that down. If Prince Jing's residence keeps making moves, the Empress Dowager will intervene. But the real question lingers. Are they just going to watch Chen Yi take over the East Factory? And then Elder Ji brings up something called the Prayer and Blessing Ceremony, a day for eradicating bandits and exorcising demons when nightwalkers and ghosts roam free. Keep your eyes on this ceremony because it's about to become the single most important event in this story. Prince Jing catches on immediately and asks what Elder Ji is suggesting. Elder Ji lays it out. During the ceremony, daytime is normal, but nighttime becomes the literal underworld. Evil spirits and monsters appear, a strict curfew is enforced, and anyone caught outside risks death from vengeful spirits. It's basically a government-sanctioned purge night. And here's the genius of the plan. During the ceremony, if a West Factory commander happens to die, the blame falls on the monsters and demons, not Prince Jing. They're literally planning to use supernatural cover for a political murder. That is genuinely terrifying strategy. Prince Jing's eyes light up. They still have a chance. This man just heard about a demon-infested nightmare event and thought, perfect opportunity. The moral compass on this guy points straight to whatever benefits him. And then a new player enters the room. Her name is Yin Weiying, and she walks in asking who they're all discussing so seriously. Prince Jing tells his daughter not to interfere recklessly. But Yin Weiying has a different concern entirely. She says she doesn't want her father accumulating more killing karma. This is a princess who cultivates the Tao and actually has a moral compass. Elder Ji dismisses her concerns, saying ordinary men navigating the imperial court have no choice but to commit acts of violence. But Yin Weiying pushes further and asks for the target's name. She's digging for something specific here. Prince Jing waves it off. It doesn't matter what his name is. He's merely a dead man. That line is going to age spectacularly poorly, I promise you. But Yin Weiying reveals her actual motivation. She says there is one person in the East Factory whom she cares about exceptionally. Even Prince Jing is surprised. He leans forward and asks who it is. And the answer is Min Ning, or more specifically, Min Yueqi, the one mentioned in a prophecy. So Min Ning's real name is Min Yueqi, and she's apparently connected to some kind of prophecy that even Prince Jing's household knows about. Yin Weiying explains that even though she hasn't met Min Ning personally, this child has deep connections to the Tao. She calls him both a dragon and a phoenix, saying he could become the Taichu Golden Youth if he cultivates under her. The hype around Min Ning just went from local talent to destiny-level prophecy. Prince Jing agrees. Kill the West Factory commander during the ceremony, but under no circumstances harm Min Ning. So now the assassination plot has a very specific protection order attached to it. Chen Yi is the target and Min Ning is the exception. Yin Weiying presses her palms together in a prayer of gratitude, invoking the Heavenly Venerable. She got what she wanted, but the question is, does Min Ning even know a princess just saved her life without her knowledge? Meanwhile, Min Ning opens a package back at her quarters. It's the Azure Mountain Fist Manual with a note from Chen Yi. Remember how she refused to accept it as a gift? He sent it over anyway. And Min Ning is genuinely moved. She admits she'd been measuring the heart of a gentleman with the suspicions of a villain this whole time. She finally gets it. Chen Yi wasn't trying to buy her loyalty. He was just being generous. And that revelation is hitting her hard. Back at the East Factory, word has spread about Chen Yi's rampage. His subordinates are gossiping about how he fought 1 against 15, and only 5 of that generation's commanders even survived. One of them is permanently disabled. Chen Yi's reputation just leveled up overnight. They're saying no wonder he's acting director, and no wonder Vice Director Song had 0 objections. When you can solo an entire hit squad, people tend to not question your promotions. And right on cue, Chen Yi shows up. The gossiping immediately stops as he walks past them and calls for the person in charge of records. He's got that boss energy where everyone simultaneously respects and fears him. He walks into the records building and calmly assures the elderly official inside not to worry, saying he's not a rash person, which is exactly what a rash person would say. But in Chen Yi's case, it's actually true. The old official nearly jumps out of his skin, stammering about why Chen Yi is here personally. When the acting director shows up unannounced at your archive, it's never casual. Chen Yi glances up and simply says, "Let him come up." Short, direct, and carrying more authority than a full speech. The official complies immediately. When Chen Yi gives an order, you execute it first and ask questions never. Chen Yi walks into an upper room and finds someone already inside, playing an instrument at a desk. And standing in the corner is someone else entirely. He turns and sees 2 women waiting for him. The pink-haired one at the desk, and standing to the side none other than Yin Weiying herself. Prince Jing's daughter is already inside the East Factory. That's suspicious on about 12 different levels. But Chen Yi doesn't miss a beat. He tells the pink-haired woman not to worry, calling her sister, and saying he has everything under control. The man walked into a room with the enemy's daughter and his confidence didn't drop a single percent. The pink-haired woman is confused, asking about Yin Weiying's title. But Chen Yi cuts straight through the pleasantries. He tells Yin Weiying he's here looking for Mingyueqi and invites her to sit down and chat. He just used Minning's prophecy name. He knows exactly who Yin Weiying is after. Meanwhile outside, two of Chen Yi's subordinates stand at attention asking for their orders. Chen Yi's orders are crystal clear. Go to the archives, inventory every case file inside, and bring him everything related to Prince Jing's estate. The subordinates nearly choke. Prince Jing? He's going directly after the man who tried to kill him. And then comes the declaration that makes this entire episode worth it. Since the Dingyan faction wants to eliminate him, he will dig through every single one of their so-called pure officials and expose whoever is actually dirty. He refuses to believe he can't find corruption among those who claim to be clean. This man just declared a one-man audit on an entire political party. One of the subordinates actually pushes back, saying most of those files have already been reviewed and cleared by Deputy Chief Su. He even suggests maybe they should just send a polite invitation to Prince Jing's estate to clear up any misunderstanding. Chen Yi turns and delivers a line that probably shaved years off that subordinate's life. I told you to investigate, so investigate. Do not make me say it a second time. That is the face of a man who just told you your next words will determine your employment status. And they absolutely bolt. Those two went from questioning orders to full sprint compliance in under a second. Chen Yi has that effect on people. They return with the case files faster than humanly reasonable. Chen Yi sits behind his desk as they present everything, offering him full access to inspect the documents personally. Chen Yi starts reviewing the files immediately and dismisses his subordinates. He wants to read these alone, which means whatever he expects to find in there is not something he wants witnesses for. They bow and exit without question. Everyone around Chen Yi has learned the same lesson. When he gives a command, you comply first and breathe later. And then someone unexpected shows up. Minning walks through the door calling for Commander Chen. She came to find him, and based on what happened last episode, this visit is about to be very interesting. He asks why she came, and she says she has something to discuss with him. The way she's standing there tells you she's been working up the courage for whatever comes next. Chen Yi asks what it is, and the air in the room shifts. There's a tension here that has nothing to do with politics or martial arts. And then Minning just grabs his face. No warning, no preamble, just a hand on his cheek out of absolutely nowhere. Chen Yi barely has time to ask what she's doing before she closes the distance between them. This is happening. This is actually happening right now. She kisses him. Minning, the woman who refused his gift because she couldn't stand owing anyone a favor, just kissed Chen Yi as payment. I need a moment. We all need a moment. Is this the most unhinged way to repay a debt in Manhwa history? She pulls back immediately, face completely red, and declares that she has repaid his favor. The confidence lasted exactly as long as the kiss, and now she can barely function. Chen Yi touches his own face in disbelief and repeats the words, repay a favor? This man has been kissed by assassins, fox spirits, and now his own subordinate. His romance stats are speedrunning through the entire cast. Minning retreats to the far side of the room and stammers that he's a bastard, asking isn't this what he likes. She is simultaneously insulting him and confessing, and I genuinely cannot tell which one she intended more. Chen Yi tells her she didn't actually need to repay anything. But Minning insists that her conscience wouldn't allow it, especially because she knows he was even thinking about going after her older sister. And Chen Yi drops the smoothest line of the entire episode. If you insist on repaying favors, then you're going to have many favors to repay in the future. He just locked her into an ongoing debt system that only he controls. The financial literacy on this man extends to romantic investments. He continues, talking about when young hero Yan becomes famous in the martial world and ascends the rankings. People will ask why she kept her history as a brocade guard. He's basically telling her that her current position is temporary, and her future is much bigger than this. Minning turns and walks away, calling him truly insane. But there is zero actual anger in that voice. She's flustered, overwhelmed, and probably replaying that kiss in her head on loop. But the moment is interrupted. A carrier pigeon arrives, and Minning recognizes it as her older sister's bird. She immediately tenses, wondering what could be so urgent. She opens the message, and 3 words are written on it. 100 flowers taboo. Whatever that means, it is apparently serious enough to send by emergency carrier pigeon. And Minning's face goes pale. Something has actually happened. Her entire demeanor shifts from flustered romantic to full emergency mode in a heartbeat. The 100 flowers taboo is clearly nothing to play around with. We cut to a completely new location. A grand multi-story building under the night sky, and something about this place immediately feels different from the political halls we've been in. Inside, someone is playing a stringed instrument. The delicate hand plucks the strings with practiced elegance, and the atmosphere shifts to something more refined and dangerous. And there she is, Yin Weiying standing with a cup in hand, looking absolutely devastating in that outfit. She's moved from Prince Jing's throne room to what appears to be a pleasure quarter, and the context of that transition raises some very important questions. She gazes out the window at the night skyline, flanked by 2 attendants who look completely outclassed standing next to her. Whatever she's here for, it isn't entertainment. The two attendants exchange a glance that says they know exactly how far above their pay grade this situation is. The pink-haired woman at the zither asks why immortal maiden Yin has graced their pleasure quarter with her presence. So this is the same woman from the East Factory earlier, and she apparently runs this establishment. The web of connections in this story just got a lot more tangled. Yin Weiing casually sips her drink and asks the musician to play the Guangling San for her. For those who don't know, the Guangling San is an ancient piece historically associated with assassinations and hidden intent. She's not here to listen to music. She's sending a message. The musician agrees, and the two women settle into what looks like a calm evening of art appreciation. But we know better. Every piece on this board is moving into position, and the prayer and blessing ceremony is coming. And as the episode closes, Minning tells her companion to be extremely careful as she goes in to investigate. The 100 Flowers taboo has pulled her into something urgent, and we are heading straight into the most dangerous stretch of this story yet. Prince Jing is planning murder under supernatural cover. Yin Weiing is making moves in a pleasure quarter, and Chen Yi just declared war on the most powerful political faction in the empire. Everything is about to collide.